Good afternoon, good evening, good day, good morning to some. Um, Happy Sunday, happy new week. We want to welcome you to SKTV. Welcome to each and every one of you. Today is Sunday, March 27, 2022. Want to welcome all of you. Welcome to the show. Today is another edition of SKTV. Yesterday, unfortunately, we could not air uh, because of interruptions in our schedules and our routines. But the good thing we are back today. We are here to have a national conversation. Um, this conversation would include a lot of things going on nationally and I don't want to say internationally, but we could include internationally as well. But yes, in a nutshell, we're here to have a conversation and a huge discussion today. We are expecting to have 2 to 3 guests apart from our panelists to have this national conversation. As you can see on the top of the screen, um, in the meantime, while you're tuning in, share the show. Share the show. How do you like to share the show, man? I don't all United SKTV fan. Share the show, my man. Even though you haven't officially signed for SKTV yet, but I don't know what you're waiting for. Um, as you can see on the top of your screen, why and when Liberian will actually stand up or rise up. Today, we are here to have serious discussion, very, very serious national discussion. Um, yes, Deputy, I see you. Share the show. I see you. Tell my nephew and nieces I say hello. Tell them I say hello. You never know. Maybe I will pop to your house after the show. I will pop into the house there right after the show. I just be to the door, ringing the doorbell. Bling, bling. I think I will walk on you. But yes, let's share the show today. We're going to be playing host to a couple of people on the show. We'll be recognizing you as well for being our faithful followers. Today is Sunday, a very beautiful, I don't want to use the word quiet, but beautiful, good Sunday. Let's start sharing the show. Let's start sharing the show, the wildfire. We're about to have some serious, critical national conversation. In other news, in other news, um, a lot of things going on around the country, in the world, a lot of things, a lot of different developments from different fronts. But in other news, the Liberian government seem, from what I'm hearing, seem to be doing everything they can to reach out to other people. My issue is now reaching out. They want to make it look like now it's a reaching out strategy when we already know the original and the big strategy behind all of this. But that's for another time. We'll dive into it, either tomorrow or another day. We'll dive into the plans, the conspiracy, the trickery, the foolery of the government, what they are up to. Let me tell you, uh, we're not stupid, but we are here. We are here, we're not stupid. So a lot of things are happening at once, a lot of different things, so much information. most recently, um, many of you have seen just today, I was also informed that there was a young man that was murdered, allegedly, and thrown into the swamp or the creek or whatever it is. He was a church goer, and we are hearing nothing from the Christian community. Um, so we're going to be having some of these discussions. We are, and as you already know, we don't shy away from the conversation. We do not, and we will never, ever, 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 and ever shy away from these conversations. So yes, let's share the show. In other news, um, a lot of things are happening. Like I said, you can share the show, invite someone, bring someone on. Let's have a national conversation. Um, our guests are getting ready. They're popping. If you're not share the show, I want you on your own now. Yeah, I want you on your own. If you're not share the show, you're on your own. But the expectation is you would share the show. Um, if it's your first time, you also like SKTV. On SKTV, we don't bite, we don't hurt. So it's okay for you to click on the icon that look like a belt to be able to bring you on or to be able to alert you whenever we come on. But let's share the show. Quickly, last night we were at the EULA inaugural ball. A lot of interesting, strange things are happening. I just want to give you heads up. We're working on the scheduling and other things. Former ambassador to U.S., former Minister of Finance, Nathaniel Bounce, will be on SKTV very, very soon. We're working on the details. Last night, at the inaugural ball, he checkmated Minister McGill, which I think was necessary. Would I have said it the way he said it? Probably not. But would I have checkmated Minister McGill? Yes, I would have. A lot of interesting things happening. A lot. Some interesting, discouraging, frustrating things are happening. But that's why we are here to have the necessary conversations. We're here to have the necessary conversation. I think we ought to, like Obama would say, chew gum and walk at the same time. Yes, you can work with the government. Yes, it's okay to build relationships. Yes, it's okay to maintain relationship. But no, it is not okay to neglect holding the government accountable and trying to pressure Liberians who are here, who already have their bills and other things to pay, to pick up the slacks and the responsibility of the government when the government is squandering the resources of the country, when the government, there's rampant corruption and stealing among government officials. It's not a hidden secret of fact. It's not being against anyone. Yes, the government is stealing. The people in the government are stealing. And they're stealing massively in our eyes, in front of us. And they're making the Liberian people look like they're fools. But they come here and put all these pressure on people and want people to take on their responsibilities. No, it doesn't work that way. No, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. It does not work. I love my country. I love my people. But at the same time, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair. Let the resources, let the money allocated for our people be used for them instead of coming and pressuring donors and pressuring other people. In other news, the ambassador to the United States, to Liberia, Nia Monrovia from the United States, is making a county tour. And we'll talk about a county tour. We'll talk about some of the things he's adding in details. We'll expand on it. He made some startling revelations while on his tour. The other day, he was also there with I think it's the guy in charge or the big man for USAID. He was there with him. And he made some interesting revelations, to be very frank, about how the people in the rural area are very poor, how the government is making it seem as though when they build a road, that the government building, they know that's not truth. When they get money from the World Bank and other people, and he was clear. He said about maybe 60% or so, I stand to be correct on the numbers, 60% of that money is US dollars that are contributed by taxpayers, you and I in this country. You and I, we contribute that money. We give it to them. And he said then, Joe, we had to take credit for it and make it look like they're doing the Liberian poor a favor. No, that is not truth. Those things are not truth. Those things are not truth. So they should be telling the Liberian people who's funding these things, instead of them using it as a means of campaigning and as a means to lie to the Liberian people, because we know this government to be a la government. Yes, we know that. So yes. So these are developing stories. Listen, we'll talk about those things. We'll talk about them. I know other people don't want to talk about them, want to massage it and make it look like that's some kind of intellectual conversation, have fun way or joke way. No, it's not fun. True is true, lie is lie. It is what it is. So when the government starts to lie like that, start to take credit instead of giving credit to the people who actually spend their hard-earned money, you and I, because our tax money. Can you imagine? You know how much we contribute? And the lawmakers and the other people are saying that over there to even give us dual citizenship, that we got to be running behind our own rights and stuff like that. They want to make it look like a political thing or whatever it is. They're making it look like do us a favor. But we'll dive into these conversations for another day and another time. But let's share the show. Let's get quick to the musical break here, and once we get back, we'll recognize one or two people, and we'll get straight into the show, into the conversation. Share the show, guys. Share the show. We'll be having Massa Washington on here today. We'll be having Yasendi Martin Pei, Ibrahim Dode, Telvi Cole, and Siku. I heard from him. More likely so 50-50, he'll pop in, or he will come in at some point. So it's 50-50. So yes, we're having a full packed show today. But let's get to sharing the show. Quickly, the musical break. They lied to us. They lied to us. The Ellen government lied to us. The Joia government lied to us. So we just fall down inside. Yeah, we own no copyright to this song that is about to play. Let's share the show, guys. Please help us share the show, and thank you for tuning in. Let's do this.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber. Stop sleeping. Wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. You gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us so. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not go. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to all our damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, so the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the corrupt. No one to trust. My people, no one to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are heroes? Where are the gods that they say they could afford? But they're too selfish. The people tired with their rhetoric. People tired, they tired. You see the reason why we ask why the government betray. They have enough for time, but yeah, then instead they delay. People suffer. No work for people crying for hunger. Look at. Your vision and your mission, your intention to the nation, they poor. You got nothing to show. Nothing. So, why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. They lie. The people fool us, the people lie to us, the government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the corrupt. We tired with their promises that led us to all our damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to breathe? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us. You screw us, you use us and little on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie.
They can lie, they can steal, they corrupt. This song describes them in totality. Yes, that's truth. They can lie, they can steal, they corrupt, and the people that support them, evidently they are the same. No difference. They are all liars, they are criminals. When you support criminal, you are a criminal. You support a liar, you are a liar. Yes. And that's just the truth of the matter. So the government can lie, the government can steal. I want to make that disclaimer, and I take full responsibility for what I said here. And these are facts, both publicly and privately. There is no way to go around it. But yes, just before we bring our guests on really quick, please don't post any link on here. If you are not permitted to do so, we're begging you. Please don't do it. Thank you. We do not want to say anyone for safekeeping. Please. Well, let's
Hi there.
Before we bring our guests, what's going on?
Lazy weekend.
Lazy week. Oh, well, the other lazy weekend, the hair that is there. A lazy hair weekend too?
Lazy hair weekend too.
Okay, well, it's good to see you. Tell what's going on.
Nothing. Happy Sunday, of course, and happy Sunday to the viewers around the world. Just want to show some appreciation for them. They could have been anywhere else. Obviously, their time is valuable. They could have been doing something else, but they took the time to come and watch SKTV, and we don't take that for granted, and not today or tomorrow. So we're truly grateful for the time, and we hope that we can, deliver today and always. And if we ever fall short of the expectation, we hope that they will let us know, because it's through that process that we get better. So glad to be on.
Most definitely, Tom. Welcome to the show today. We have one of our guests is running slightly late, and she wanted me to let you guys know that she's having some technical problem, but she will be on. But let's bring in one of the guests really quick. Hello.
Hello, Tavi. Hello, Steve. Can you guys hear
Hello.
me?
Yes, we can hear you. Tell you unmuted.
Oh, oh, hi, yeah. How are you? Good to share a space
Well,
with you.
thank you. Good to be here.
Well, as we always say on the show, like bro, me are the most beautiful women as evidenced by, well, gentlemen, you can look on your screen if you think I'm lying.
Even in our tire looks,
Yeah.
we pull it
Folks,
off.
Our Sunday comforts. Yes.
We pull it off anything.
well, folks, as you can see on your screen, like bro, me are the most beautiful women on earth. I bet you to, especially to the men, I bet you to dispute that fact. Let's see. Well, since we ain't got no dispute on it, then we, greet our people. Miss Yasendi Martin Quay, greet our people.
So let me say hello to everyone. Let me say, first of all, thank you to SKTV for inviting me to be here. Tevi, Steve, Sekou, it's always an honor to lend my voice somewhere, to add up to what you guys have to say. It's good to be, and to the viewers, please share the video because your friends may not be my friend or Steve's friend or Tavi's friend. So when you share the video, we educate or we inform the rest of the population. It does not matter in Liberia, in Ivory Coast, in Sierra Leone, just around the world to get our side of the story or see what is happening in our country and around the world in our interaction. So I look forward to a good conversation concerning Liberian women and women around the world, women of the world for that matter. It's an honor being here.
Thank you so much. Javi, just really quick before we get into the
Yes, sir.
conversation, before we get into the conversation here, it's been a tough, hard, difficult few weeks. What would you say about your where you are today? You know, mother that tiring day, or you were tired or a lazy day. What would you say about what's going on maybe around the world or in your personal life or so forth?
I mean, I can agree with you, Steve. Part of having a tiring weekend is, all tied to all of this because it's been exhausting, it's been draining, it's been tiring dealing with things, news coming out of Liberia one after the other, multiple news, it's mind draining. It's draining in every way, So sometimes you just have to just like, you know what? I just want to be lazy today. I hear it, but I don't hear it in a way. I need to kind of recalibrate and, recenter and all of this and see how collectively we can move this forward because I mean the race they're just all over the place. The work that we do, we put risk in different buckets of high, medium, and low, but it seems as though Liberia on a risk is just way up there. You can't even put any of one of them in a low bucket. So it has been tiring. Even though we have a beautiful weather here in Texas, I mean, like I think it's almost like in the 70s today. It's still exhausting, just hearing all what we're hearing. So I'm happy Yara's here, and hopefully Basa can come along and of course do that. So we can talk about some of these high risk areas, talk about solutions, and see how best we can move forward.
Okay. Well, Mrs. Wait, what would you say about just not America? Let's forget about America. Just the everyday, different news, different drama, different noise coming from Liberia, especially when it has to do with what are abuse, killings, um, violations, the breaking of law, stealing, and so forth. What would you say in a nutshell?
I never thought we'll find ourselves here again, especially what we endure for 14 years. I never thought in my dream, this lifetime, that we will find ourselves here. But this is where we find ourselves. Now let's see what we can bring to life and what solutions we think we can proffer if those and who will join us on this road.
All right. Well, we have Massa Washington here. We want to welcome her and also give her the opportunity to greet our people so that we can get into the conversation here now that we started.
Hi, Master.
Hi, Toby. How are you?
Good.
Yes,
Glad to
good
see
to
a
see
space
you.
to you.
I know, good to see you guys. It's Sunday. I need a
Yes,
response from you,
ma'am.
Mama. I need a
Huh?
response from you. I need a
Okay.
response from you. We need all the strong people.
Okay. I
Well, greet
will
our
definitely
people.
do that.
Well,
I will do that.
welcome to the show and greet our people.
Good evening, everybody in viewers and listeners land. Thank you so much for tuning in. And hopefully your time will be well spent with us today. Thank you very much. Moses, thank you again for inviting me on your show. It's a pleasure always.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are. We are going to kickstart this conversation. As you can see, we have our guests already ready. They're here. We're hoping that we can have Abraham join us anytime soon. But as you can see on the top of your screen or the topic for today, I'd just like to so Telvi can ask her question too as well. But we like to get the women because this is getting, in my view, this is getting to be more like a take it or not. But in my view, this is getting to be a fight that is against women. This is going to be a fight to honor my women and children in Liberia. This is not a joking matter. People want to take it and say, oh, that politics or you're preaching hate. But this is the total honor minding of womanhood in our country. So that being said, I'd like to ask this question. And it's a double-edged sword question. Why and when will Liberians, especially women, stand up or rise up? Why can they stand up or rise up? Or when will Liberian women, especially women, stand up and rise up? The question go to all of you. We'll start off. Let's start off with Massa Washington. Let's get her input on this.
Okay. Very good question, but let me just say that historically, the women of Liberia are noted for rising up to the occasion. And I say that because we have had women before us, and even during our time, who have been brave enough, bold enough, and aggressive enough to speak about ills in the society and even take actions. Don't forget, it was Liberian women who pushed for suffrage, the right to vote. President Tubman did not just sit down in isolation and say, I love the women of Liberia so much, I'm going to give you a suffrage. They pushed for it, they advocated for it, they voted for it. And he finally, relented and let it happen. Even during the course of the Liberian Civil War, it was Liberian women from all walks of life, from all ages, spanning across careers, profession, market women, on all sides, were advocating every single day for the voice of women to be heard in the peace process. Because initially, when they started inviting those who were involved in the war, basically the men, to attend peace conferences, the women were excluded. And when the women wrote to ECOWAS and President Rawlings at the time, who was actually the chairman of ECOWAS, his response was that the women are not a part of the conflict. That's why they were not being invited to peace conferences around the sub-region at the time. And the women bulldozed their way around. I was with the women initiated at the time, headed by Mary Brownell. We were not invited. We bulldozed our way into the first Accra Clarification Conference and sat in the hallway just lobbying attendees of the conference. By the third day, they granted us official status, and we were part of that. But we had to bulldoze our way or lobby for tickets to go. We saw the rest of the Liberian women, Woda, Lema Bowie and her women, advocating And since then, other Liberian women have come up and they continue to advocate and push. Yeah, you're saying it right there. They're telling right there. We know, we may agree, disagree sometimes on other issues, but they are not as significant as the issues facing us. Yesenia has a talk show. I think her talk show is like every single day, Yesenia, or every 2 days. I've been trying to follow you lately and stuff. Every single day, these young people are talking. On all the different talk show, women are trying. So it's not like the Liberian women have not been trying, or Steve. Liberian women have been trying consistently forever and ever. But people think that they will silence us. What is happening here with Liberian women is that we have not been very lucky with some of the women that we put into public office. Okay, so some of the women we put into public office who expect that they will continue with the touch, with the mantle. But as once someone then get into public office, they want to be more corrupt than even the men. Look at Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf. She disappointed us when she went there. When Ellen got there, instead of the Liberian people voted for a woman for the first time because they were fed up with the men, because they felt that the men were all playing games. They were not serious. They brought drugs. They gave it to our young children. They sent them to the death. They destroyed the country. So Liberian women made a point and say, you need to try us. These men have been running the country for more than 170 years. You need to try us. And they lobby around Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf. But when Ellen got there, what did she do? She effectively divided the women. She had her elitist women, and she had the women who were not part of the status quo. They had the women who were educated and the women who were not educated. She got one or two token women, for market women, just to say, oh, she had market women and she had native women. So Ellen, whatever efforts that the women have made during the war to come together collectively to end the war, when Ellen came, she undid every single thing. Now we are starting from scratch. We have Joy Howard Taylor, who is the vice president. Now, we may not like everything about her, but the thing is, we cannot deny the fact that she's a Liberian woman and she's the first female vice president of the Republic of Liberia. But this is a same woman who sat down and said, oh, there should be no war crimes code. There should be no accountability for the raping of women during the war, opening pregnant women's stomach, chopping the fetuses out, drugging our small children. We always say, okay, some of us, we come from mixed background. We come from native background and we come from the other side. And we know also, when I used to go to Bomi County as a kid, when my parents used to take us, me and my siblings, and carry us to Bomi County to our grandparents, we had some grand uncles and stuff who were fishermen, who were hunters and stuff. They were not educated. But we know that the native people were not violent people. They were people who respect the rule of law. They are afraid they were afraid of authority. They only had a single barrel gun to hunt for meat, to sell, to feed their family. They would use some of the meat, feed their family, and the other one, they would sell in the town and other places on the roadside to buy other things that they needed to feed their family. Our people were not violent people. They came, they brought a war, they brought the drugs, gave it to people, children sitting up in the interior, while the children were sitting in the America. You're going to all the Ivy League universities. They gave other people, children, drugs, destroyed them, and they turned around, high on drugs. They destroyed their own villages, raped their own mother, whatsoever. Okay, this is why the TRC recommendation, the TRC has general amnesty for all child soldiers. So the women of Liberia have been trying. But at this point in time, we have not been lucky for those women, some of our women who have gone to national leadership. They have not done well. They get there, they become comfortable with their new status. They're hanging with the men and they want to act worse than the men, and they don't really, they are not in sync with the interests of the rest of Liberian women. That's where we are. And then also, Liberian women, we are divided, we are polarized on smaller lines. Like we are part of all of these different organizations. Liberia is a country that is polarized on the basis of so many different organizations. This county association, that county association. They move it from the county level now, they bring it to district. Okay, and then they bring it to towns. And then we have the high schools and all of that. So all of us are part of all these different mushrooming, polarizing organizations. Okay, and women have been talking, but we need to come together. What is happening in Liberia now? Liberia is in crisis, my people. Our country is in crisis. We need to come together now. All of us being part of all these different organizations, it's not bad. We can still be in our political parties. We can still belong to our counties or associations. We can still belong to our schools, colleges, alumni association. But when it comes to certain national issues, there should be no compromise. We should come together as the women of Liberia, never mind whatsoever. Okay, you can't be vexed with somebody so much to the extent that you want your whole country to burn. So the women of Liberia have always been trying, but one, we have not been very lucky. In some of the leaders that we have put forth to represent us, they have disappointed us. They got there and they start doing something else. And they also help to divide the women. Ellen Johnson suddenly divided the women of Liberia. Today, we're still trying, we're still struggling along like divide, and we're now trying to come together. So I just want to say that the women of Liberia have been trying, and we've made some very good strides, but we need to come together now so that we can be more forceful and we can be more impactful in an intentional way. We did it before, we can do it again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Similar question comes to you, Mr. Squaden. What would you say? Can you hear me?
Is he on mute?
Oh, I can't hear you for some reason.
Oh.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, let me tune this up. Yeah, go ahead. What was your question?
Yeah, similar question that was asked. Why can't the Liberian women stand up or rise up? Or when would the Liberian women stand up or rise up amidst everything that's going on in the country, especially to their children, and especially to women at large? For the most part, women seem to be the targets here. They seem to be the victim here. What's going on?
So let me first of all acknowledge what Sis Master just said. We were left out of the peace table. The room was given to those who have murder actually come and raided our nation. We were the most affected. Women were the most affected. Children were the most affected. Women were being raped, stomach being open, babies, dead baby taken out of the stomach and making fun of, asking if they belong to a Gil tribe, a Mano tribe, a Mandingo, a Kran, a Congo, a Native, and all of that. But we weren't allowed on the table. Like she said, women have to force their way to be there. Now look at our history, because we're part of our environment, right? What tradition or environment dictates what your culture dictates you become, unless you're far-sighted enough or you're willful enough. And I always say this, change makers are born before their century. And those of us who are not just woke, but alert and conscious to speak up and stand up, we are doing that. But we need to get more women on board. I think we've been abused so long that we don't even know what we deserve. Majority of us, I watch women day in, day out, at least for the time that I've been here. And exclusively the last 6 years, how Liberian, and you say it all the time, Steve, how we work against ourselves, how we fight among ourselves, how we divide ourselves. We are not even segmented, because when you segment, there's a group that is strong enough. We are scattered. We are broken. All right. And I think this is the time. When we spoke about 4 years ago on Vivian Red, Jackie Anderson, and we came to Odell Sherman, I told people, okay, on this particular, not on SKTV, but on Facebook Live, that today it may be Vivian Red, it may be Jackie Anderson, but remember, unless we do something and something together, it will come to each of our door. Last night, I saw a post from Candy Adams, the musician, the gospel musician, talking about one of her church member brother being murdered in cold blood, face down in the water. All right. Yesterday, a young girl on Thursday, beautiful young girl, was murdered in cold blood. Okay. And that girl brother happened to be a medical doctor who saved lives every day. They didn't know that. Nobody knew who she was connected to. They just knew she was a kidder. And this girl was very enterprising. Out of high school, she went to learn trade. Now she teaches a lot of life. She's teaching life. But Sis Master, let me agree with you. When Steve reached out to me, he asked me some question. I will say this. Any Liberian woman who is willing to stand up at this moment for my daughter, because when you speak up, you speak for my daughter. I have 3 beautiful girls. You speak of my mother. You speak up for somebody like, and I wish you have had Samrika here. Hopefully she can make time. You speak up for the disabled women who may be able to speak or may not be able to speak, who go through this every day. You speak for the over 2.5 million Liberian women, because we're more than 50% of the population, or not just women, but female in Liberia. And we have a voice, and we have a right to ask for what our God-given right and protection. So this is the time. I just think we've been abused so long. And Steve, maybe when you're doing your show on the psyche of human mind, or the behavior, human behavior, you can do a profile of us. Why are we the way we are? I think we've been beaten down so long that even when we are independent, we don't know we're independent. While Liberian women support people in this country, men in this country who wouldn't work, and they're still abusing them. They're still sexually molesting their children. They're abusing their children, and they think they must have a man. Why is that? So there's a reason behind that. We are part of our environment. Some of us have left the cage, and we can see. So we're telling them, because they're still in the cage, they don't believe that there's light out here and things are different. But we have more work to do. Sis Masa, Telvi, we got more work to do. We just have lots of work to do, and this is the time.
All right, thank you so much. Tel, what would you say? Being a mother, being a woman.
Well, you know I'm a panelist here, so don't act like I'm one of your guests to can't interview me today. But I'll chime in. I'm just joking with you.
Yes,
You know, I'll
definitely.
chime in when necessary. I'll chime in, but I want to give the guests the opportunity to talk, and I'll come here as necessary. But to your point, Steve, I think when you ask the question, why are women not standing, or Liberian women specifically not standing up or rising up? I think we are standing up. When I say we, generally, we are standing up. We're just not standing taller as we should, but we are standing. You can be standing and just not standing upright. You're not standing with confidence, you know, and not standing in your person to know who you are and what you're capable of doing. And I think somehow, I alluded to it as well as Masa. We're not standing as tall enough, and it's about time, is long overdue, that we stand up in boldness, stand up like we should stand, and believe in who you are, and bring others along. The reason, and, you know, and Masa kind of alluded to it, is somehow too, we're standing different ways. And until we get to that point where we can bring the collective resources, we will never get to the point, to that finish line, no matter how long you do it, no matter how strong you do it, no matter how you know, confident or how much skills you have in doing it. For all of my years, I have seen and heard great success in collective efforts. And so it's important that we bring in the collective effort so that we can stand taller than ever before. And the people that cannot stand as tall as we are, like Masa or Ya or me, then we need to help them, pull them in, and drag them along. But some people, they need that push to get to the other line. Some of us, we can do it in a heartbeat, in our sleep. But then we drag those other people along so we can make them heroes as well. So I think that's where we need to work on.
Thank you, Tel. Well, we'll turn it over to Tel, but just a quick reminder to our panel, to our guest. If Tel has any question, we'll turn it over to her. But just a quick reminder, we'll restrict our responses to maybe 2 minutes at most, so that we can have more questions and more interactions with you guys, because we want to make sure we put in more questions and give you guys, maybe, let me use the word, hard time to hear from you guys today. So Tel, it's up to you.
So I want to ask the two beautiful ladies the question I asked Steve the other day, because Steve and myself talk a lot. We talk about other things, not only just the show. But I asked Steve, I said, Steve, do you realize that we in the diaspora are crying more than the people in Liberia? Do you realize that we spend so much time advocating for them, and it's like we're doing, you know, Poké said, don't cry more than the bereaved, but we're crying more than the bereaved in this instance. And I said, I mean, you're the one studying human behavior, but my common sense tell me, I think from what I've seen over the years, and you know where it is, I think these people they're just numb to it. They've accepted this as a way of life. So Steve said, well, tell us so how. So I want to, you know, he talked about other things. Obviously, Steve very smart, but I want to get it from you guys. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys share the same view? Can you hear me?
Let me just say,
Oh, anybody can go first.
hello,
Doesn't
can you
matter.
guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me, Steve?
Yes.
You can hear me.
Okay, so let me just say this. I do share your views, but then I have some other views also to share to that. Don't forget, like Yesenia said earlier, our people have been abused for so long and so consistently until after a while they're thinking that this is normal. A woman will think that if her boyfriend or husband abuses her, breaks her arm or whatsoever, and then comes back the next day and brings her gifts, he loves her. When people, it's a psychological thing. I mean, Steve, you in psychology. I studied clinical social work, and I used to work as a mental health therapist for years and years. There is something called attachment. People become attached after a while to the abusers, and people become acclimated to the environment, especially when you have a rotting country like Liberia, where a handful of the population have stolen the way to power, and if they have all the perks of power, they don't want to let go. And most of them are not the best of our society. They do not represent the best of our society. So when the victims see the victimizers and see the abusers as the same people who are making policies for them, who are governing them, who are deciding what happens with their lives, guess what? They accept it as a norm. They say, well, you know what? Then maybe that's how it's supposed to be, because people don't know any better. And the reason we advocate, you made the analogy that Liberians in the diaspora tend to cry more than the people who even got a dead body. Yes, we do. It's because the Bible says, to whom much is given, much is expected. We were there. Don't forget, just yesterday, all of us, or maybe the majority of us, were there. We were those people just yesterday. So we may not have been to the point where we were living in the slums or whatsoever, but we were just 2 steps away from living in the slums. We live in concrete homes, but our immediate neighbors were the ones who live in the zinc shacks. You understand? So we live it, even though we might have felt it a little differently, but we live it. And we know that we have the responsibility to help lift our people out of bondage. I like to refer to this generation as the Moses generation. Then maybe our children's generation would be the Aaron generation, because Moses led the children of Israel out of out of bondage in Egypt, and then Aaron was the one, and other younger people who went on and made sure that they developed the promised land. So maybe our generation is the Moses generation. Maybe by divine intervention, we are the ones that God, want us to do this. And Liberians generally, we are nice people. This is why it's so shocking the way we hurt each other in the war, and the nonsense still wants to, carry on. We are normally caring people. Without Liberians in the diaspora, the Liberia's economy will collapse, period. Without us in the diaspora, the economy will collapse. I remember during the war, when I fled and went into refugee situation, were living in refugee camps and other places, I saw the kind of support that Liberians in the diaspora gave the people. And when we came here, we joined them. And today it continues. So yes, we are crying more than the dead, because we have had the opportunity to escape the dungeon, to escape the druggery, to escape the acute poverty. And we have our people back there. We want to make sure it's better. But also it's because we feel that we cannot give up on Liberia. Other people didn't give up on the country. This great United States that we're in today, the people didn't give up on the country. It was not the whole population of 2 million or 3 million at the founding of America that actually changed America. It was just a handful of patriots, maybe 75 to 100%. Benjamin Franklin, just a few of them, they insisted that they wanted the freedom from the crown, from the British crown or King George. They were tired with all the taxation on the tea and all of that. They had the Boston Tea Party. So in every society, you must have that conscious group of people who want things to change. And we have to be persistent. We have to be consistent. And we have to make sure. It's because, you know what, some of us want to retire home. When I die, I don't want to be buried in America. I want to be buried in Bomi County, near my father, in my grandfather's village. We have a family plot there. So we have to fight to make sure that the environment will be enabling so that y'all can be able to take my body home and bury me in Liberia. I don't want to be buried here in the snow. So that's why we fight for this country, is because we have the greatest responsibility, because we have been liberated. We have been liberated from the poverty. We have been liberated from the ignorance. We've been to school. We are educated, and we are exposed. And because we love Liberia, we want the best for Liberia. So never mind, our people don't seem to get it. You know, they want to always vote for the perpetrators and whatsoever. But we cannot give up on them. We got to keep talking. We got to keep pushing, and we got to be consistent, and we got to be purposeful.
Good, good, good. I like what I'm hearing. Masa, before we go, Yasa, it means I'm calling you Yasa. Yeah, before we come to you, because there's so many of us today, and then we got daughters coming too. So we're trying to kind of summarize our answers to probably 1 or 2 minutes. And we also want to welcome Sekou. Yeah, Papa is home. Long time. So yeah, you can come in, and then I'll have a follow-up to that question. Yeah, come. Today I'm not putting my advocate cap. Today I'm putting on interviewer cap. So that's why you see me going with these questions. So yeah, that's cool.
So I always come to this looking, sitting in, and being the one in the cave and seeing everything going along. I think I told the story. I'm going to be really quick. As a child, that's all I saw around me. Women being beat up, told what to do, pushed around. Women being diary off. And I always told people, my mom is the first to defy the family tradition, to go out, get knocked out, just so she would be able to go to school. So then she was not forced to get married at a young age to some old man out, which most of my aunt was. So growing up, my mother taught me differently. I was prioritized among the boys. And maybe I have that feel about me, that I walk in a place, I tell you I'm here. I don't have to say a word. You know that I'm there, because I was taught that way, to stand out and stand up. All right. All our girls are not. And that's the Plato analogy of the cage. Until you leave the cage, you don't know what's out there. What you know is just surrounding. Here it is. You have people who murder our people. You have people who violated us. These very people are the one making decisions and intimidating us. And the men, even the men, majority of the men, you, Sis Master or Tevi, you watch the congressional hearing in Liberia the other day. When Puto tried to talk, they laugh at this woman. And that's what I'm saying to you, women, okay? We don't need to be voting men anymore. But then we don't just need to vote any woman anymore, because, like Sis Master has said, we are being unfortunate. But I will say this, because since we have a lot of people, there is a quote by a former president of the United States that said, philosopher, the first time you experience pain, you fight it. The second time, you shake yourself in. The third time, you start adjusting. Our people have adjusted to their pain, and they're in survival mode, if at all they're surviving. Now, one profound word, we are the Moses generation. The Aaron are in the making. Then, or let's say we are the generation of Nehemiah. No matter what the fight, we should be ready to stand for it. And that's what we are. So I don't want to be buried here too. For the last couple of weeks, my soul has haunted me. Do I stay in exile and die? Or do I fight to my death? That's where I'm at this point.
I love it. I love what I'm hearing. So follow-up question. Sekou, you want to greet our people? We miss you. You're on mute. Papa Naka.
Yeah, I miss everybody. Everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, especially to our two distinguished guests here. I want to say thank you to you out for coming here. I want to say good morning. And I miss Teco, I miss Steve. And guess what? We're going to chase Steve out of Phoenix right now. The man is the president, but then they're leaving the state to go somewhere where we don't know. So we are about to really, kick Steve out of Phoenix. But yes, I want to say thank you to everybody. I'm glad to be here. Pretty much, I'm not going to be talking a lot. Just listen, more. And if need be, I will talk, because my area of talking is a little more controversial today than many of the good people in here. So I don't want to dilute the conversation. I will, I will wait and listen and see what happened. Yeah, but I'm very happy to be here with you guys.
Thank you. All right, so we'll follow up to that. So trainers, we all can agree to that. So you guys have been doing this so long. Masa, thank you for your work. On the TRC today, we still reference it. I was just reading the section on women again for the third time before coming on the show. But so how can we, all of this, what we're doing here, you guys have been doing this so long. Sometimes I see comes up 3-4 times a day. I was just like, how can she do it? I do it one time, already mentally drained, So how can we transcend all of what we're doing to the next generation, to Liberia? Picking back on my point of, we're doing more than the bereaved in their instance. How can we transcend all of this knowledge, all of this work, so that we get to a point where we're not leading as we should lead. We're not heavy lifting as we should heavy lift.
Do you want me to come in?
It doesn't matter. Anyone can take a stab at it.
So let me come here. I'm actually happy.
1 minute, please. Moses, can you please log me into the studio on my computer, please? I'm backstage.
It is not connecting from your computer there.
Well, I'm here. It says I'm backstage.
Yeah, log out of the other one. See, you know what? Let me take her out of the other one. Then when she come back, you can bring her.
Yes, most definitely. And quick, just before we move forward, Mrs. Square, you will need to work on your sound. We're getting feedback.
I think it's your network.
Yeah, we're getting feedback, and you're getting a little blurry.
It's a Wi-Fi.
Your network connection, you're getting a little blurry. We can't when you speak.
Yeah. It's the lighting too. It's the blur. If she blurred, it's the light. It's the light in her location.
Trust me, it's a network.
It's my network. It's correct. My network goes in and out. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna move and I bought everything in this place. I have a very expensive router. I have range extender. It still don't work. I don't know. Maybe it's the installation in my house. Is this still loud? Is this still feedback?
Are you on earpiece?
It's a little blurry.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna move. All right.
You should log out and log back in. Log out and log back in.
You sure? Okay.
Yes.
She could just even restart her computer. That will help her.
Cool. Yeah, cool, potentially.
Yeah, could just restart her computer to reset everything so the network can come back. But yeah, I mean, before the people come back, all of you guys look so sharp, man. What's going on?
Nothing.
You've been enjoying too much.
Too much. We're busy with the politics side.
I know. It's too much, oh.
Too much.
No, I saw some stuff. I never been following all the politics, but few things I saw. I was like, okay. Somehow we are somehow vindicated. Yeah, but we will talk about them anyway.
Somehow.
You know, my own. I will not let it go. I will say what I have to say.
Yeah. You still waiting for the soup to get cold?
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the soup is at the stage now, ready to, I'm ready to drink my soup now, I guess. But now when we have a lot of people on here today, and we have to give them time to, to talk. Yeah, I may not even be here for a while because a lot of people here. You don't need me here today.
The fact that people can see your face because teacher answering question for you, Taya answering question.
Yeah, but it's never been easy, man. I've been out now well, and then also extremely busy.
Right.
Yeah, and the people are coming here. The people don't pay me, so I gotta.
What to do?
I gotta pay attention to my business. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it's good to be back. Steve, you and
Yeah,
Steve been holding up.
why you guys are carrying on the conversation, both of you? I'm trying to help Master Washington reconnect from the back here. Her service is not connecting, so she'll have to get back on the gadget she was on.
Well, yeah, but why are you waiting to do that? Am I allowed to
We
talk
got one
about
person in the
anything?
back.
Talk about?
Yes, please. Please throw
Anything?
light. Okay, I think she's back there.
Anyway, I saw Teko laughing. Teko don't want me to talk about anything. Teko doesn't want me to talk about anything. So let me hold back.
Not today. Martha's back.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Martha? Martha?
Yes.
Okay, can you hear us? You want to?
Yes, I can hear you guys. Yes.
Okay. Steve,
Sure.
Mr. Moderator.
Yeah, tell go back with your question now. Go back with your question, please.
Oh no, in summary, I was just asking. I mean, obviously, trainers, and so you've been doing this for so long. Like I said, your work shows for itself. I mean, the track record is there. How can we transcend all of this work or all of this to the generation so that we don't continue to do the heavy lifting and continue to lead 100% as we are doing now, or transfer, not transcend. But transfer
What we can do. What? There are several things that we can do, Telvi, to appropriately turn over the mantle to the next generation. Like, for example, we have to be open. We have to be open and selfless with sharing our knowledge. Now, one of the problems we've had in Liberia is that they say that we Liberians are not people who love to share our knowledge or skills or what we know to the next generation. We want to keep it all to ourselves. For some reason, that's what they say. I don't really ascribe to that. But we need to know and learn and understand that the nation will never advance. The nation will never develop and grow if we do not share the knowledge with the next generation, because life is about time. Today is our time. Yesterday, they had people ahead of us. They had like the Mary Branners, they had the Guru Governor, they had Madame Swakoko, and all these people ahead of us. They left the scene and we came on. And when we leave the scene, another generation will come on. Liberia is not going to cease to exist because Master Washington is not in the picture. Even if I decide not to do any of these things, there are other people who will do it. So we need to learn to be selfless. We need to learn to be encompassing. We need to learn to be inclusive, to mentor the next generation so that we are properly passing on the baton for the growth of our society and for the advancement of our society.
So how can we do that?
I mean, we hear the way we do that is, one, like I said, we have to be open to include young people in everything we do so that they have the opportunity to learn and grow. We can't just say, our age group. And no, we have to look at the next generation. There are other people, below us in terms of age and experience, who you can see already. You can see the energy in them. You can see that they want to learn. They want to. Every generation has its heroes, and we need to help the next generation, identify their own hero. You can tell. You got a young man like Manipaki or Domoy. Okay, the Domoy factor. He's a young man. You have your boy, Double. You have all these young people who are stepping to the plate. You have all these other young girls who are Fasia Boyino Harris. This young girl who they just named Liberia Woman of Courage. So these young people, we need to continue to work with them, include them in things that we're doing so they can learn and so we can pass the baton on to them. We need to mentor young people. All these different organizations and stuff need to bring along young people and give them some opportunity, not just to be there to clap for us. No, we need to give them opportunity. We need to bring them on the stage. The closer they are to us, the better, the faster, and the more appropriate they will learn, so we can be able to pass it on from one generation to another. My father always said, the way you know if people is doing fine or a family is doing fine is that the current generation is better than the previous generation. We have to make sure that the next generation of Liberians are better than us, that they will do better than us. And the way to do that is to mentor them, to be inclusive, to include them. Do not be how you call it, some people think that, oh, if you bring the people, you train them, they will replace us. Of course they're going to replace us, because that's what life is. Life is an order of sequence. Other people were there yesterday, they're not there today. We are there now. Tomorrow we're not going to be there. So people need to stop this mentality of thinking that, oh, if I bring young people on board and I empower them, they're going to replace me. Of course, you're bringing them on board to train them, to empower them, so that they can replace you tomorrow, because you're not going to be there forever. Life is about stages in time. There's everything, Ecclesiastes, there's everything under the sun got time. So we must train the young people. We must not be envious of them. We must not be afraid of them. We must not see them as competitors. We must see them as being able to continue from where we stop. That's how nations grow.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Do you want me to repeat the question, or you got it? I know you were in and out.
Just please repeat that.
So I guess in summary, I just wanted to talk about, like I said, typically trainers train trainers. So what are some of the things that we can do so that we can continue to heavy lift like you're doing, like everybody else doing out there, and so we can transfer a lot of that knowledge, the expertise, and everything to the next generation? Yeah, even to Liberia, because that's the end point. Liberia, what can we do?
And thank you for that question. Let me add up to what this Master just stated. There is a saying that goes, and it's a known saying that goes: if you want to project the future of a nation, any matter, see how it treats its current generation. How does it treat its current generation? Is it passing its current generation? Because the current generation are the future leaders, right? So that brings you and I into the fold. What are we doing? How we impacted them? But first, there's a saying that goes, for us who educate, for you to change them, they say you must reach them before you can teach them. People are not going to take on to you if they don't trust you. Okay. And people are going to buy into you before they buy into your ideas. So we have to build alliance. But I think we're doing a good job. Here is why. When we started on this platform about 5 years ago, a lot of people say you guys will be here for 1 week and you guys will be over. We've been here over 5 years straight, no time off. Even if we take a week off, that shows consistency. We are a different breed of Liberian women, so to speak. All right. And they say you are talking about issue for 2 weeks and it will be over. We've been talking about Odia Sherman for almost 4 years. We've been talking about Vivian Red for almost 4 years or 5 years. We've been talking to We Are to Straighten Out for 5 years, going to 6 years. We have not rested. All we've done is take turns. Sometimes Massa take off, sometimes Ya takes off, but we are here. They know we are present. And when we started this process, a lot of Liberians were afraid. The reason that that Princess was killed is because we started this journey with Odell, with Linda, with Jackie, okay, with Vivian, with Ma Musu, with Regina, since 2016 with Regina, where a congressman raped a little girl, had a baby by her, although she disappeared, but we're still talking about her since 2016. And that's under the UP-led government. The Shalif and the Bwaka-led government. This was a city senator who impregnated a child entrusted to him, and nothing happened. So I think we're doing work, but we need to amplify. And I think this is the beginning. We change by start talking, because change is repetition. Learning is repetition. There are two things that helps the human development: your sight, which is visual, and your hearing, which is audio. That's how people use to either train people, indoctrinate people. We're not saying that, we're saying we should educate. So we speak, we set example, we lead by example, even when we fight. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with fighting. Even your own children, if you're a parent, your own children fight with you, they disagree with you. But you want a country, a group of people that also encourage dissent. But how we fight should be the way we look at things. And then how we bring it together when it's all done, when we disagree, how we fix our disagreement. And that's how leaders are born and leaders are developed. And that's how nations change. But I think We need to do more work. There's more work to be done. You train, you talk. I have Rosa. I have Olive. I can name on and on. I have Adam. I can name about 100 young kids that along this path, I have become their mothers. Okay. Not in material speaking, but in knowledge base and character building. And they know that
We're losing you there.
Rosa will tell you something and you don't report, she's not going to deal with you. And she will come and let you have it. So we lead by setting an example and trusting the master said the people that will bring it on. And that's why there's leadership gap in Liberia or vacuum, because we're still bringing Mary Brewer back. So Mary Brewer did not train enough people. But if she worked with that management, the reason America continue to evolve and continue to be competitive is they're always retraining. Not the old people, new people, young people. The children come from college. You have internship. You have shadowing. What do you call it? What's the name for it? You call the English name now. Well, the same thing shadowing, but there's a name for it. Apprenticeship. All right. That the kids go. By the time we are easing off, a master leaves, I should be able to walk in with ease. I don't have to be calling her every minute when she leaves, because she has entrusted me and trained me. What she carries, the knowledge that she carries, if she pass it on to me, plus what I acquire along the line, I will have double what she has. So I'm able to pass that on to the next person, and the next person is supposed to be better than me. So we see the future of Liberia in peril, and we have lots of work to do, Telvi. A lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Over to you, Steve. I got more, but I'll come back.
Thank you, Telvi. Well, I'm a little taken back. Listening to what both of you have said, as a man, I'm a little taken back that I feel women have not done enough to even, whether I train or teach, especially Liberian women. I feel Liberian women are very complacent. I feel most of the things that are going on with our children, Liberian women enable these things in different ways, shapes, and form. I also feel that Liberian women are so divided and easily manipulated that they undermine themselves on a daily basis, especially in a country like Liberia. I give you instance before I ask this question. When Maxwell Kimia, which is the minister, the foreign affairs minister, when he was appointed with the alleged rape on his head, there were two groups of people. One group, that women, all women, for the most part, all women. One group wanted them at least to do some kind of investigation or hold him accountable.
Oh, we're not taking calls yet. They're not pressing wait.
On the other hand, there was another group of women that were in favor and saying that the women are lying and they form a group. Most recently, we saw a book that was written where President George Weah allegedly discussed his wife or his private affairs to another man. Mind you, that two men had a conversation. They're not women and men. Two men had a conversation. One man decided to write the conversation that they had. Women woke up. Women who were dishonored in the conversation, Liberian women who were dishonored in the conversation, woke up and decided that they would come in solidarity. And I saw some men, which they were trying to do for political reasons, but I went out of business. I also saw some women, after they finished disgracing Liberian women, I'll put it that way, and disrespecting Liberian women, and taking a Jamaican woman over Liberian women, guess what happened? I saw these same Liberian women in the streets saying that they're standing in solidarity. Few weeks after, a 3-year-old girl was raped. Another woman, a child who's supposed to walk in that step of becoming a woman. Yes, you are correct. Let me use the word some. Some Liberian women, but most. I will use most Liberian women. Most of these Liberian women, instead of standing with that child, they went silent. So my question here is this. What are you guys willing to do to really get this thing halted? Because I can assure you that it's not going to stop. And women coming on Facebook, talking, maybe it's one step, but what is the next step? What else needs to be done? because this seems like it's getting to be a repeated cycle, and nothing is done. And these men are emboldened. They will stop. They will not stop. I just want to put it out there. So what are you guys willing to do? What is the next step going forward? All this coming on Facebook and talking, and women are being raped, women are being violated, or young girl was just killed. You know, a young girl was just killed up until now, have no head, no tail. Another man comes on and says no foul play. He just comes on and says no foul play. And before you make up your mind, the other tomorrow, another new case will come. What else needs to happen? What are women going to do?
Steve, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Okay.
We can hear you,
So,
sis. We
We
can
can hear
hear
you,
you.
Martha.
Okay. So I think you are being a little bit too hard on the women, on us. But I think for good reason is I would take it as tough love, because we know you to be a guy who is passionate about equality, human rights for everybody. You want to see Liberian women do well, and so we know it's tough love, but it is still a little bit it pinch at your heart string to hear, you know, how deeply you think Liberian women have compromised themselves. But let's just say this. It reminds me of the book called Utopia. If you guys have the time, you'll read a book. So Utopia, you know, they're talking about societies and how the governing system and society in general doesn't create the enabling environment for women and the poor people to realize their self-actualization. And then when people don't have jobs, when they can't feed their children, when they go and steal, they call them rogues. When women are not allowed to work, when women are not educated, when they are not given the opportunity by society to be able to realize their full potential, when they go and start doing prostitution, they call them prostitute and they lock them up. Basically, that's the essence of the book Utopia. So what you're trying to say basically here is you are describing a society that has been run by men forever and ever. Since 170 something years, we have the first female president of Liberia. All of the presidents were men. All of the vice presidents were men. While it is true that we had one or two women who were in the legislature and the Senate, and some of them were at ministerial position, but we know that they really didn't call the shots. So I'm not making an excuse for, you know, our own, you know, negligence, however you might want to call it. But what I'm saying is you have a society that has been entrenched with everything anti-women for more than 170 something years. And then we come back to say the first time the women are beginning to breathe, the first time we are beginning to show our head up, we are being criticized as not doing enough. But I take it in good faith. Yes, I do agree with you when you say that, you know, these two examples you gave, they are real examples. But when you look at the hundreds and hundreds and thousands of examples over time, you will realize that come what may, women are still at the bottom. Women are still being segregated against in the Liberian society. Look at the national legislature. How many women legislature you have there? How many women senators you have there? We are having the vice president or female vice president for the first time in our 170 something year history. Okay, so it's not enough if you want to compare and contrast with the governance system and the role of men and women. It's not enough. Women have been trying, but let me tell you something. Women have also learned to survive. If you ask me, I would say the women of Liberia are very smart. So whether we agree with them sometimes or disagree with them, I just want you to know that I completely disagree with those women who declare we are demonstrating in black and stuff. I took issue with them on Facebook, and I went on social media. I went on talk shows,
I did too.
and I condemned them. I completely disagree with it. Oh, so you guys you're coming out en masse in black to demonstrate for Claire. We are as if to say, I asked them the question, who died from you're demonstrating in black? But then in the meantime, we don't see you come out to demonstrate for Justina, to demonstrate for Odell, to demonstrate for the 3-year-old baby who was raped. Even a diplomat of the Republic of Liberia in Nigeria, whose 7-year-old child was raped consistently. Okay, he's been crying for justice all over the place. We see you come out to demonstrate for them, but then you're wearing black. You're organizing yourself, taking your mega resources. You can take me wearing black to come and demonstrate because George Weah gossiped about Liberian women and he exalted his wife, even he described her anatomy. Okay, so I disagree with that, and I'm sure the rest of us on this platform, women disagree with that. But don't forget, Liberian women learn to survive because it is a system that you men put in place that have been entrenched for more than 170 something years. And Liberian women learn that in order for them to survive, to be able to support families, they have to they have to play your games. Liberian women learn that they have to play the game as well to survive. I mean, imagine a major member of the government says that before women are given a job, even if they are qualified, he is saying that before women are given a job, people have to sleep with them. I mean, can you imagine the extent of depravity? So even if women are qualified, Steve, I'm just saying this just to sort of politely debunk, your stern statement on women. Imagine, so even when women are qualified, okay, this government official is confirming that before women are given top position, they have to compromise themselves sexually. Now, I don't know how true all of it is because I think we still have some decent women in government, but to hear this coming from a government official mouth is alarming. It's alarming. I don't want for somebody to think that I need to sacrifice myself with all my education and experience before I can be able to get a position to serve my people and to do well. It's horrible. It's wrong. So what I'm saying is, you men who have controlled the country, you men establish the system that we have today. Okay, you're the one who established the system, and the women are just trying to survive. Well, some of us, we have been on the end stake of survival. This is why they're causing us all over the place. They'll cause us prostitute, cause us rebel, cause us all kind of things all over the place because we refuse to conform. But not every single woman is going to be like me or Yesende or Francine or Telvi. Okay, but it doesn't mean that those women are not decent. They learn to survive because that the system you put in place, or Steve, is being entrenched for almost 180 years. And then today we come back and we criticize the women for learning how to survive as per your system that you put in place. What are we doing about it? Let me just say this. I threw out an SOS message yesterday to the rest of our colleagues. Already, Liberian women in the diaspora are doing so much. The women are spreading. All the Liberian women in the diaspora that I know, they are in all the different organizations. They're spreading, using the family resources, their time, and whatsoever. But I am saying that if we come together collectively, we can always have our different organizations and stuff, but once in a while, we must come together collectively for the greater good. So I sent out an SOS message yesterday. If you look at some of the people on there, are people across the board, because we want to make sure that this is inclusive of all Liberian women. We are looking at women who we know are passionate about Liberia. We don't care whether they disagree with you yesterday or not. We don't have time for that. We need to come together to help our country. And we are using the Constitution of Liberia. It's not going to be an anti-government thing. It's not going to be a political party thing. It's not going to be this versus that. No, it's just going to be the women of Liberia in the diaspora from all walks of life, from whether you belong to a political party, whether you're in government, we don't care. We want us to come together to address what is happening, what is going on. Because the Constitution of Liberia supports us in doing that. It gives us the right. Look, the 1986 Constitution of Liberia has 13 chapters. And those 13 chapters are divided into 97 or 98 articles or major provisions. And every single chapter of the Constitution speaks about the rights and civil liberties of Liberians. Okay, so and it also says that whereas the people of Liberia feel that their rights are not being protected and they don't have security, we can revert to the Constitution and institute certain actions so that our government can hear us. All these things that have been going on, the killings all over the place. Last year alone, they killed more than 20 people all over the place, raping women and stuff. Our president remains quiet. But then we don't hear him speak when it comes to other things. We see him in a church, that his comfort zone, he can speak, he can beat a drum, he can make a music and stuff, but then he's quiet when it comes to the rape of women and all that kind of stuff. So we, the women of Liberia, now the Constitution in the preamble, the first chapter of the Constitution in the preamble, the first 8 words of the Constitution, which is the first sentence, it says, it recognizes the strength and the power of the people of Liberia. It says, we, the people of the Republic of Liberia. That statement alone is pregnant with a whole lot of possibilities and strength. It says, we, the first 8 words of the Liberian Constitution says, we, the people of the Republic of Liberia. So we, the women of the Republic of Liberia, we're coming out now, and they will hear from us. The government will hear from us, our people will hear from us, and the world will hear from us collectively. Because guess what? The Constitution gives us the right. The Constitution of Liberia gives us the right. It says we can do that.
So, Master, we have to leave it there. You have the opportunity to speak on some of these things as we go further. Let's hear from Sis Yasini, because we have more questions to ask you guys, and we're pressed with time. Please, let's hear from Yasini. Yasini, let's hear from you.
Well, let me bring us to a place where maybe you will understand where we are coming from. And I like to reference, because experience is the best teacher, and to reference my heritage, my tradition, where to date, 2013, my father died and I took his body home. I spent most of the money to take his body home because that was his dying wish. And I get to my town, and my brothers are telling me time after my dad is buried, they want to do the ritual, and they're like, oh, your dad has property and blah, blah, blah. And my brothers show up and say to me, women don't have no say, so the women don't have no property. Okay. This is the 21st century. And somebody who I feed and do everything for educate his children is telling me I don't have entitlement to my father's property. You know, I was not in the mood. I didn't want to deal with it. The thing is, I can afford to own whatever I want to. So I just didn't want to get into the Wallabaloo. And I say, you'll talk about it. In fact, I'm going to Secretary. And I was leaving. I didn't tell them I was leaving. I just didn't want to be in the middle of that. But I got back and I got a call. Your nieces are this. And I said, I'm a woman, remember? I don't get to make those decisions. So I'm going to talk to my husband. Whatever he says, that's what we're going to do. I was trying to teach you a lesson. We are talking about women had the opportunity for 12 years to change. I think Master spoke on that. To some degree, that is true. And I also know that we are part of our environment. But you have 150 some more years to bring change. You did not. While I agree, whenever a nation experiences change or war, and after war, whoever takes over, that person has the ability, okay? The future of the nation lies in the hands of that person, whoever the leadership is, to go ahead and steer the nation in the direction in which they wish to, because you are giving it a new face and a new foundation, a new belief system, a new core of conduct or ethics. Well, the last government did not deliver. But let's look at the structure of the government, though. Majority of the people in the government were male, just as they've always been. Okay? They were male, just as they've always been. But you come, it's like you have a bunch of people who have been traumatized. I'm not making an excuse. No excuse at all. We're still fighting. Let me tell you something. When women fought in this country that I found myself have been good to me, okay? In about 20 years before, Susan B. and Anthony and Elizabeth Cardi were in the street. It took those two women organizing. They went to jail. But then they thought, since the president before will not give them right, they will go behind Woodrow Wilson and support him with the promise that if Woodrow Wilson won, women would be emancipated, they would get the right to vote. Yes. After Woodrow Wilson won, looking at the way things were going, he did not give the women right to vote until he was leaving. That was one of his executive order when he was leaving, to give from that day where it was enacted in 1920. We just got a woman vice president. We literally just got a woman, what do you call it, Secretary of State, maybe almost 60 years later. But you got people that you have literally sabotaged. You are beat up. You are trained to be second-class citizens, okay? And their children. And if you have a choice to make, you say, you don't have to go to school. Tell me how many Liberian women, I'm talking about from the elite group, okay? I'm not talking about people who family were government official or into, how you call it. But we, the majority of the native children, I talk about my own family, and I always say this, and I say it with pride. I'm glad what the woman, the trailblazer that my mother is, and I am. And that's why I make no apologies. We
I
must.
think
So
Probably a
you
bad
tell
connection.
me, yes, and everybody is going on. All you have, we have 12 years. You have over 155, over 160 years. What did you do with it? Did you build schools to make sure our girls were competitive? All right. Did you give our girls a fighting chance, an equal right to say you are capable just as our boys? Or do
Bad
better?
connection.
Yes, because we're being accustomed to being divided. We can see
yeah, you might have to log back in. You're having very bad connection.
Oh man.
She will probably have to log back in. Go, you can go out and come back in, please. But thank you
Or
so much.
maybe change to a wired device because she's on wireless. So if she changed to wired, that could help some.
Yes, so but she will come back on. She will log. Please log back and log back in. I'm seeing Abraham do that. I'm not sure if he's
Yeah,
available
send
to
me
come.
first and then
Yes, he will log back in and log back on as well. When Abraham is ready, he will log back in and log back on. But
the devil
let,
doesn't like good conversation.
so let me go back into this conversation because I think this is a very serious conversation that we need to have. And I don't think, in my view, I think if you do not push your own agenda, no one's going to push it. And so today, whether people think that we want to make this about men versus women, we must have this discussion openly. So I'll give you an example here before I ask this question. Let me give you an example before I ask this question. In February of this year,
There's something
somebody
going
making
on.
some kind of noise.
It's in the top. My top of her screen. I think it's the top of her screen.
I think I'll have to put her on mute.
Yeah, yeah. Until she ready to speak.
Yes, I hope she's hearing us. Masa, are you there? Because she couldn't connect from the computer. Masa, are you there? I want to. Are you there
She's
with
on mute.
us?
She's on mute.
Are you there with us?
The devil is busy today. The devil doesn't want us to have good
Are,
conversation.
are you
She
are
said,
you
"I'm
there with
not
us?
hearing you guys. You are very low." Yeah.
Are you there with us? You can hear us now. You probably have to increase the volume on your
Increase your
phone.
volume on your phone, and then you can put your stuff on to not disturb on
Increase
your.
the volume on your phone, please, if you can. Yeah, but increase the volume on your phone, or you can go out and come back in. You can go out and come back in if you're not hearing us. Maybe that might help. Log out and come back. Tell, would you please put that in the chat room so she can. Okay, she did go up. She'll come back. Uh, Abraham, welcome to the conversation. We are about 60% away. Welcome to the conversation, Mr. Odode. Chairman
Hey,
Odode, how are
Mr.
you?
Leon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
They pay fine for being little.
Oh, I've been in the back sense, though. That man, the man, I've been in the back
Oh, they
sense.
put you time out.
Yeah, the man put his time out. The man put me here till he so I've been in the back. Yeah, but it's
But let
good
me
to be here. It's good to be here, Moses. It's good to be here. I'm listening to it. I'm following the conversation from the women. You know, great conversation on Palandis, especially from Telp and Cindy and Sis Masa. So I mean, it's good, man. You know, like I always said, there's a lot happening in the country, especially with the women. You know, in the country, there's a lot of deaths, especially for young women. We that'll be about a year's, few months away to elections, and of course, all the deaths happening in the country. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the coming months. You know, especially we know our country. I mean, when you go to election, normally there's so much ritualistic killing in the country. So, yeah. So you know, I'll give the women an opportunity, and I will listen in. You know, and will come in, but it's great to be here with Sis Masa and to my big sister Cindy and to Gorgeous Terry. You know, it's good to be here. So thank you so much. I'm following the conversation and great points, by the way, from all of you guys on the issue of women activity in the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, let me move on to this question really quick.
Okay.
And then we have
I got a
Telvi.
couple. I got a couple here.
Yeah, we'll have Telvi to come in with our questions, and we'll try to wind down here as well. But let's get into this side of the question. In February of this year, there was an article released February 22nd. The U.S. soccer, we call it football in Liberia, finally came out and gave the same amount that they give to men, equal pay, about 24 million. That's about 24 million. And according also to the article, the U.S. soccer team, the women's soccer team, also received full benefits. However, this initiative started 6 years ago. 5 of the U.S. soccer players, 5 of them, 5 women, they embarked on this journey and said they are playing soccer, men are playing soccer, but the men are getting more pay. So the men are playing football, the women playing football, but the men are getting more pay. And so they want a pay as well. Let me read you quick a quote from that article. Listen to what it says. It wasn't an easy journey to get to this point, for sure. It was Sandy who was saying this. Her name is Sandy. U.S. soccer president said in a telephone call, the most important thing here is that we are moving forward, and we are moving forward together. Here's my question to the women on here today. Yes, some women might have stood up. Yes, men have been dominant or have been in leadership. The question is, have women undermined their own interests in Liberia up to the point that men are using them as stooges? So this is not pushing the agenda of, I gave you a typical example most recently. We had Chimama Wolokwali, who pledged to run for the Senate, ran campaign all around. Some women were rejuvenated, were excited. Only at the last minute, after they had a meeting with President George Weah, decided to support Thomas Fala. I'll give you another example. We have women in the House of Representatives. They sat there, unrealistic. They're debating the issue of breastfeeding, and those women are sitting, acting like another women issue men are talking about. Men are discussing issues that concern women. What women supposed to be leading the charge? Because they're not with the men that went breastfeed. Yet these women are sitting there, and they're all yes, sir, yes, sir. So, what do you guys say? Are most of the Liberian women undermining Liberian women interests, as evidenced by even in the diaspora? We see most of the time when you turn on this talk show, the Liberian women causing other Liberian women, the Liberian women sharing naked picture, the Liberian women talking about other Liberian women, the Liberian women gossiping, the Liberian women bringing other women down. What is this? And y'all want to blame the men. What is this? That's my question to you.
Wow.
Go ahead,
My nephew.
Go ahead.
He said that
My nephew.
out.
I know.
He got 18.
I know.
He got him.
My nephew.
He's like, I'm not holding anything back.
I know. I mean, my nephew, man, you just going under the bed and just dragging out all of our sins. Yes. Are women perfect? No, we're not. Are women subject to frailties, to human frailties? Yes, we are. Have women blundered and made some mistakes? Yes, we are. Are we making excuses for women on this show today? No, we are not. I don't think that's what we're trying to do. But what we're trying to do here is that we're trying to say that women have come a long way. Yes, all of those two things you say, they have happened, but look at the proportion of women who have erred compared to women who continue to stand up, who continue to get beat down, who continue to be cursed. Yeah, you saying it, yeah? I don't watch her show sometimes, I don't say nothing. They don't cost the people daughter, they cost her every name under the sun. Every name under the sun that I'm not going to repeat because I respect her, that my little sister. Even me, you know, just the other day, somebody cost me and wrote hell up or trash to the extent saying that I was a rebel general for one of the faction beheading, you know, other people. Now, I mean, imagine the extent to which people like us who want to continue standing up get cussed out. But the point we're trying to make is that will women make mistakes? Yes, all through our history, women make mistakes. Have women sometimes have men deceived women? Yes, men have deceived women sometimes, you know, knock their heads together. But again, somebody said one time, well, listen on somebody's show, I think it was Yesenia show or somebody's show. I tell you what, Yesenia, when one of her shows, she said, if I made mistake, I made honest mistake. If I support people, at the time, I'm supporting them to do the right thing. If they go to do the wrong thing, I don't know. I'm not a sorcerer. I'm not a witch doctor. I'm not a voodoo queen to know that this person is going to let us down or this person is going to do the wrong thing tomorrow. So if you support a male and based upon the way he's been presented by society, based upon his credentials, if you support him and then he ends up being something else, you know, I don't think we should beat women down to the ground, you know, consistently and strip them of all their dignity and all the good things they've done because men have manipulated women. It happens all the time. But what I want us to focus on is, you know, Dr. Boris, the historian, said before, we Liberians will always talk about the wrong things, which of course we should, because from reminding ourselves about what has happened wrong, then we can correct what has happened wrong. But then in also focusing on some of the things that we have not done right, let's also talk about the good things, the things we have done right, and how we can improve upon them to make them even better and bigger. So me being a woman, I don't want to be one of those women who just want to sit down and focus on the mistakes that women have made. Do you think someone like me will really piss off to see people sitting down? Josh Weah is actually discussing his wife in giving her accolade, putting her above Liberian women. And for me, I actually felt that, you know, Liberian women were being denigrated and insulted, you know. But then Liberian women come out in black and the mourning and they're demonstrating for Claire Weah. But then none of them had come out to say to the president. I said it on one of the shows. I said, Mr. President, please apologize to the women of Liberia for discussing us with your boys. You should not be discussing us. But none of them have come out to do that. Yes, Liberian women are in the Senate, but then look at the proportion of men in the Senate, in the legislature, women in the Senate. I'm not saying that the one or two women there should not advocate, but look at the odds, look at what they stand against. Look at even this Boto woman from Papudu County who tried to run. Look what happened. Gio, they were all had to come out in defense of this woman. So not everybody has the fighting spirit of Martha Washington. Not everybody is brave like Yesenia to stand up and say, I don't care what you say about me. You won't cause me prostitute. That you basically, I know I'm not a prostitute. I will continue to speak out. Not everybody is Telvi Cole. You getting my point? So maybe if we had more women like us in leadership position, I was one of those who were very instrumental on the TRC who insisted on accountability. And I'm still insisting on accountability. So I want us to focus on the women that are doing better for Liberia. How do we encourage them? How do we expand their numbers? How do we recruit more women with like minds to create an impact? Because guess what? The women who for some reason or another are not really getting it, they're trying, you know, they're practicing survival mode and survival instinct. They learn to play the games like the men. When we continue to do the right thing consistently and our numbers continue to grow, I am sure those women will join us because they will have no choice because they will be extremely in the minority. They will be in the minority and they don't want to be ostracized. So I think it's a little bit too strong to just completely, you know, or trash them and completely beat them to the ground. No, I'm sitting here thinking, what those women go through in that national legislature with all those men who are there talking about that our time to chop, you chop, I chop. Then you have major warlords, people who can give order tomorrow and you can disappear. And these women are supposed to be there and be debating these issues with these people. And then yes, still when they can't, when they are intimidated, and when they feel, when they can't really speak out, and then we trash them. I don't think that should be the way we should go. I think we can continue talking to them to do better, but we need to also strategize as to how we can increase the number of fearless, brave, smart, and strong women in that legislature. People like to focus on the presidency. For me, my focus is that legislature, because that's where the problem is. That's where the trouble coming from. They're the one in charge of the budget. They're the one in charge of everything. So we need to try to work with women. The few women who are trying to do better, let's work with them. Let's expand our horizon, bring on more young women and more young people, and encourage them to run for the legislature and the Senate, to put them there so that they can eclipse the other women who are there, who are intimidated, and who for some reason or another, they think that they need to be playing the same games that these men are playing. For me, that's where I am. Do I agree with everything they're doing? No, I completely disagree. But I think the odds against them is just so insurmountable, and we cannot sit here and really judge them like that. That's where I am.
So I'm gonna briefly, and then well, what Dora has to say on that. I'm curious to hear his perspective on that too.
So Steve, it pains me every day. I think we have this conversation in the back. When I watch my sisters disgracing themselves, fighting against themselves. Let me say to us, Congress passed the law for the women emancipation in this country to vote, actually for women to vote, on June 4th, 1919. It took them literally another 100 years to have that right, to own property, to vote, to own their seats. Okay? Now, I live in America, so I like to compare. Did they fight for it? Yes. If you listen to, what do you call it, Shirley Chisholm, she said, you want to use my brain, but you don't want to see my face. You don't want my sex on the table. Okay? And that's why it's happening in Liberia. So somebody wrote here, which is true. When I was growing up, we used to go for vacation. Grandpa stayed home. My grandmothers, because he had more than one wife, went to the farm with their children. By 12 o'clock, they have to bring him food, or they will be in trouble. They did the work. They did the heavy lifting. And when they blessed the farm, the beginning of the year, that's it. The rest, they anticipate that the woman will find the rest of the stuff. That's the culture that we are cultivated. That's the society that our people know, our young girls. Listen, I talk to little girls every day. There's a community that they grew live in. One little boy in our community had raped almost all of the babies in our neighborhood. And the babies are not allowed to talk. The children thought the mothers beat them up. The fathers are also there. These women, majority of our people, I'm going to say, somebody wrote here, we need psychological help. Okay? I think it's Frederick Douglass that said, it is easier to raise a strong child than to repair a broken man. We have a lot of broken people. That's just a fact. All right? You're the psych, you will tell us of behavior. From my own experience, because the behavior studies say, what I watched from the study around us and other people who have survived war that never got help. But this is the culture we're cultivated. This is our culture. That's what we call it tradition. Now it's our responsibility to change that tradition, because tradition are man-made. It's like somebody said, girls should not go to school. Who told you girls can be engineer? My daughter is going to be an engineer. My oldest daughter worked for CDC. Okay? There's none of all who at about 24-year-old had a master's in my family from the women. My daughter did. All right. So we broke that tradition that had been that women belong to a man bed. And also, and Steve, you're saying that teach your sons to respect your daughters. Teach your sons to stop using their part to intimidate women or to use them. You got a bunch of men on Facebook, they see who use women, use their weaknesses, okay, to get their aim fulfilled. For instance, I see women on Facebook fighting for other men and their nakedness, but they're the one who will be the first to post another woman nakedness. They will be the first to post another woman's sex video. So I agree in part to some of what you were saying, but not all. But I think we made a lot of gains. and we'll continue to build on that again. Then we have to also think, all right, based on the choices that we made. And I will always say this, and sis, and Master, that was me. I said, for I am not God to know the heart of man. What you show me, based on what you show me, I will believe you. But if you go ahead and you change, I will take away my support, because my support for you is not written in stone. It's based on what I see at the moment. What
You got a bad connection there. Yeah, are you
Yeah,
there?
I think
So
she
go
has
back to, you still there? Or you want to wrap it up so okay, go to do that? It looks like we're running out of time.
So I was simply saying that more that needs to be done. Liberian women have come a long way. Yes, Ellie had an opportunity to redirect Liberia, to set her on the path to equality and prosperity, to give our women hope. But she also acknowledged this, though. She said she felt two things: corruption and what do you call it? Reuniting, or let's say uniting Liberia, reconciliation. Now, there are two things in which Tom and Talbot were killed for: failure to answer to the masses in a timely manner, rampant corruption, nepotism. If you sum it up, bringing unity to the country and giving the country its direction of integrity. She failed. And that's the reason we killed Talbot. That's the same reason we killed Doe. So she failed, just as the men have failed. Where do we go from here? We have a responsibility to redirect our future, and we do it with the girls. I think our girls are the future of Africa, especially Liberia. And I'm here. So long God give me breath, I will do. If I impact 100, that 100 will multiply. If I impact 10, that should be able to multiply times 10 to 100 to 1,000. And that's how Oprah Winfrey said, the change starts with one person. One force, one person encourage, and it will trickle down if they believe in you. That's it. The power of change starts with one person.
Do that? You got anything to chime in there?
Great conversation from Sis Marsa and from your Sandy. Liberian women are very resilient. Beautiful. They're very dependable, hardworking. They were mothers or fathers or wives or sisters, and so they have that level of resilience in whatever they do, right? And I want to say hats up to Telv and to Yasendi and to Sis Masa for always speaking out, women issues on their Facebook pages. Thank you so much. I know it's tiring. I know it's hectic. It's time consuming. But let's just keep. Even if we're not around tomorrow, history will judge us tomorrow that we play our part. So let's just keep doing what we're doing, and continue to highlight the issues in the country. But I just want to fundamentally disagree with Sis Massa, and on the issue of the women in the national legislature. My Angela, she said it right, and she's one of the great American poet, and that selflessness in whatever you do and trust is very important. You must always have trust when people on the opposite and when people have trust in you. It's always good to live up to that value. That value that they see you as a person they can look up to. Rosa's Park, they didn't just she would have she would have chosen to just say, I'm gonna give my seat out to this white guy and just move on and not have to worry about what happened next, But she stood firm and said, I'm not gonna give my seat out to anybody, and that's where the change started from. Rosa Parks stood there and said, I'm not gonna do it. And that level of resilience, that level of defiance, positive defiance, led to a change in the world today. And so the likes of Youngly, the likes of the other representatives, females in the house, they can effect change if they want. They can carry on change if they want. It's changed like Yandy said. It starts with one person, you know. But Yombly, who is a senator who have been there for years, you know, I can't remember the bill I had ever read from her introducing issue about women or leading a charge or leading or just organizing a workshop for women issues in the country, you know, on rape, you know, or and organizing a demonstration. And nothing wrong with senator leading the charge. We see it right on the Capitol Hill. If there are issues that confront women in America here, women from different committees, they lead a charge. So Yumli can lead a charge, or the representative in the other representative women in the lower house can lead a charge. Nothing wrong with it. But all of these people, it's just something about Liberia when it gets there, when they form part of the process or part of the corrupt system, and then imagine you have Yumli have been in the Senate for how many years? You guys are the women in the Senate, but we don't have a library, a public library in the country. We have a female president. We don't have a public library in the country that a female girl can go to read, to do her research, and to read in the country, in the entire country. She left for 12 years with all of the foreign direct investment into the country. Not a single public library in the country. The one at University of Liberia is you can't even go to find a modern standard. You can't find a modern book in the country in the university in the library in the first instance. Go to AMU. You know, so when we're talking about things, we gotta be honest about, because we gotta be honest about these things. Yeah, they're our friends, or we have some association, but we gotta be honest about the things that the country desperately needs. These people in the Senate and in the lower house can change this process. They can hold the men, they can be 5 women, or Yumli can hold all the people accountable in the Senate if she wants to. If she's not a committee on judiciary to be doing the things that she's doing in the house that we know of, she can lead a charge of change in that Senate as a single woman in that Senate, or as a woman in that Senate. So same with the lower house. So I support women activity. I love women, you know, who are very resilient. I see Monzo tell Facebook page all the time. I get notification. Yes, Cindy, Costco, get Costco every single day, and 6 months as well. But if we take our relationship with the people and begin to make it front and center, all that, you know, we try to have some little empathy for them in the process, we're not going to move anywhere. We must hold people accountable, because you know what? They are public officials and they have the mantle of authority to change the country and make other women be inspired by the change that we want in the country. They can make that happen. They can inspire me, your Senate to be, they can cost me out. I don't care. I know I got somebody in the Senate who is standing out, who is directly listening to me and doing the thing I want to do in the Senate. So you can cost me all you want, but I will stay stand up because I got somebody in the Senate that hears my cry, that knows the pain I go through, and that pain that I go through, every woman in that country goes through that pain. And because they go through that pain, I will stand here and continue to say what I say. You know, I don't care what it cost me or it cost me. The same with Telvi. Telvi goes, when she takes the budget, she goes through and dissect the budget and line by line and put it out there. And Yumli was saying, you know what? The Senate has not been audited for almost 20 years or 15 years. Let's see how the Senate can be audited. Oh yeah, Telvi will say, you know what? Yumli is listening to me because you know what? I'm dissecting the budget so that our children, our girls' children can benefit from that budget tomorrow. It's not about being put into crooked figures and doing the thing that they do in the Senate. So what I'm saying is that one person can lead a charge of change. You can lead it. It's not invincible. It's not impossible. But the reason they don't want to do it is that these people, when they get to the house, the advocate, when they get to the house, it becomes a whole other ball game. That is the problem we have in the country. People advocate for change. When they get there, they do something completely different. So these people can effect the change that we want in the country as women leaders in the Senate and in the lower house. They're just not going to do it. You know why? It's just simple. They are part of the corrupt system. They're not going to change it. They will continue to do it until when they get out of there. I promise you, then they become the very change agent and advocate afterwards. When they go to the Senate and feel miserably, then when they come out of the Senate, come out of the lower house, then they become change agent. That's what we do at Liberians. We were there. When we advocate to go there, when we go there, we advocate as change agents. Then when we get to the place, then we behave the worst. When we come out, then we won't be advocate again. That's how Liberians are. That's how Liberians are. So the women in the Senate, if they want change, in my just closing, if they want change, we can effect that change. But it's disappointing. Madam Salif led the country for 12 years. And people talk about, oh yeah, she made strides. No, if you compare the money that she received to what she did in the country, she did nothing, right? You instead of going to Harvard University and graduated, but cannot build a single public library in the country when she leave power and build a personal library in the country that women should go to. Come on. And people want to press singer. That is the country we have. Until we can begin to hold ourselves accountable and hold our associates and our affiliates accountable, like bro, will not go anywhere. And I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity and thank you guys for all that we doing discussing.
TV, let me talk to this. So I got a lot of questions for you guys, but we know our 2 hour, but he know I will boost my way. So he know I gotta put my questions in. But very quickly though, a cool discussion. Thank you guys for adding value today. I got a comment about the Senate hearing because I had some concerns too about that. And not to anyway talk down on women. Obviously, I value us and I value me. But I was taken aback too during the hearing. Specifically when Senator Boto Kane, and I know it's kind of, there's some cultural barriers there, when she was trying to ask her question and then she was shut down, directly or indirectly. And she pulled back. Even when, she circled back or other people acknowledged her later to come in, she either she was upset or she was like, oh, no, let me. So I'm just like, what are you doing? Take it up again. Ask your question. You shut me down. I will rest. I will come back. So I was taken aback that she decided not to go forward with her question, even though she was shut down the first time. And I was sitting listening to her. I was just like, we go through this every day, even in this America. We go to meeting, they shut us down. We far away, you will hear me. With my accent, you will hear me. I will make my presence felt. So I think she needs to do more. They need to do, to everybody's point, they need to do more. I expected more, they're leading, especially when it comes to women issue, and be more forceful, even though they are in a minority, but even be more forceful. Masa, we all can agree. We go to places that sometimes we're the only woman there, where, so you make your presence felt. You're not going to feel intimidated. And not because I'm in America, but even for in Europe. I will make my presence, when I say presence felt, where necessary. I'm not going to go follow the place, do all this nonsense, stupid misbehavior. But where I need to add value to the conversation, I will not be intimidated because I'm the only woman there. I will not be. And that's where they need to muster the courage. They need to do more about that, especially with Senator Boto Kane, because she's the woman, she's the head on gender issues, I understand. So she should be more forceful, giving everything we have in the country on gender issues. In fact, she should be demanding those quarterly reports from PISOTA and then briefing us. If PISO cannot brief us on those quarterly reports of what's going on, or the police, she should be briefing us because she's the focus point in the Senate on gender issues. So I think she needs to do more there, as well as Senator Yumbi or whoever else. I don't know all the women there. I only know the both of them. But I have a question. Now we stay on Senate though. During that same Senate hearing, the gender minister, as well as health and police, they all, it looked like they shared notes. And they said that the reason that more cases were being reported is the reason we're hearing all of these cases now is because more and more people are reporting. Do you guys agree or disagree with that statement? I have my thoughts, but my thoughts don't matter today. I want to hear your views on that.
So let me come back here. No, it's not. We're glad that more and more people are reporting. All right. But no, it's because what they're trying to tell us is this was happening before. All right. No, it's not. Because you did not bring us any documentation, no statistical analysis to tell us that this was happening, this was the number. You gave us 1,700 number of people that were raped last year. We know it's more than that. We know almost 80% of rape is not reported in Liberia because it's the culture, right? Otherwise, it's the feminist secret order. They didn't even do their work. In fact, they didn't look serious. They didn't look anything was pressing. Yeah, it is. You're telling me you don't have resources. Is that what Boto asked her? What happened to the money, the corona money at the airport? Okay, and they brushed her off. Actually, she did come back because she left. They even called her to a stand to go talk to whoever was in charge, and she came back. But
yeah, she said that be so.
Yeah, but every time she opened her mouth, they will laugh at her. Right? Mm-hmm. One thing, and this is what, and I'm going to speak to this with Abraham. I hear that's true. There's lack of education. Now we have to define what kind of education. Is it cultural education? Is it the colonial education, the what do you call it, the classroom education that we're talking about? Because I tell people, my grandfather was the first justice of the peace in the Makante district. He could not speak English, but he led his people. You understood his culture. You understood his surrounding, how to make judgment. Okay, Chinese people don't speak English; they don't write in English. But they're some of the brightest people in science and technology in the world. Indian people are known for engineering, okay, innovation. They don't speak English. All right. Now, here is the thing. Ellen took over. She got all of this goodwill. All right. We can say over what 60 billion because of not 60, let's say 6 billion or more. We literally have 4 billion weight on us for the life of the country. We went to war, 14 years of war. They didn't build no elementary school, no middle school, no high school, but you build colleges. What's the priorities? Who's supposed to go to the college? You get born a baby, the baby goes to college. It makes no sense, no leadership sense. But I'm talking, all right? It does not make sense. But the Chinese people can build a college building. The lawmakers can afford to build colleges, personal colleges and school. When you make education expensive for any nation, okay, you will pay for the ignorance of that nation. That's what we're paying for. They fail us miserably. All right.
So you're saying because they didn't bring any statistics to support their argument, so reporting is just not the primary reason. I mean, it's not primary reason why we're seeing the increase.
So in fact, the women were literally decrying the social media, what we do here, that all of this is based on social media and they won't cause all of this trouble and blah, blah. So she was not there to take responsibility, to look for solution. She doesn't even care about looking for solution. She don't want solution. She's found where she is because she's not being held accountable. Peaceful City children are here in Minnesota. Okay, they get on the bus in the morning, they go to school, they're safe. All right, they get food. If the mother cannot, if the mother go there and say, I don't have income because she work in Liberia, we have done that before. Other people have done it before, not just we are. All right, they will give her food stamp. They will give her a place to live. Just like she was living here before. But she's in charge. Let me tell you something really quickly. December 2018, a little girl by the name of Joyce Gabler was snatched from her parents. Her parents were put in jail. Peaceful pick up that little child. That child never came in. They brought a dead baby. And I'm still talking about it. It's 4 years later. So these people, there's something that is, I don't know. But I said this. We need to have more of this conversation. But I would say it's not because of that. All right. That was to brush off. She brought nothing. How do we know that there were more rape yesterday? Based on what? What is for steady? We are not dumb. Or we are not people who, even in the lowest animal kingdom, there's some sort of order. Here, we're picking up and our people are learning from us. Today, look on Facebook and see all the dead body on Facebook. From the child that was killed on Thursday, today there's another body in the marketplace. There's another body yesterday. You will wake up tomorrow, there will be a body. Is it because the people are reporting it? Or is it happening now? We are set to release 50 or 500 criminals that are in jail. Although he had not found a way to tell what is happening in the country, there's no control. And we don't get the list of these people. We don't know where the last one are they free. Ofori Bia, one of them. Ofori Bia is the former rebel and killer that they were talking about. That what was it? What the girl name? The concrete girl was talking about. Okay, as the hitchman that been killing people. All right. Now he's going to release another 500. And the 500 will be used as some sort of meditant. Okay, towards, but listen. We're going to stand up. We're going to sit up. But I think they're playing with us until Liberians get tired and stand up. This is what we're going to get. But the women
Masa, any thoughts on that?
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
we just can't see
okay.
your beautiful face, but we can hear you.
Yes, okay, no problem. So I do, I mean, Abraham, you did make some very good points, and I respect you for for being bold always and taking the bull by the horn. But also, I'm also I'm more solution oriented type of person as well. So I blend my advocacy. So now the Liberian people have voted for these women that we have in the Senate and in the legislature to represent us. Quote unquote, they are not necessarily doing what they're supposed to do for even on behalf of the women who voted in. So my question then is, or my thinking is that, okay, I think for a long time we have left them alone to their own devices. And I agree with the points, a lot of the points you made, and also you said it. But I'm kind of thinking, for me, I'm looking at what do we do now? How do we move forward? Because things have to change, and we also know by history that everybody is not going to be a Rosa Parks. And I always say it did not take every single United States citizen at the founding of this country to really establish this country to move forward. Abraham, all the time, it's just going to take the handful of patriots, you,
Correct.
me, people like us on the platform, and other people. So we are going to be the one. We have to be thinking on our feet. We have to be strategizing. Okay, so we voted a bunch of people in, and we voted some of these women in, and quote unquote, they're not really doing what they're supposed to do. What do we do? Do we continue to leave them at their own devices? Or what do we do? Do we find another way to engage them? I say we find another way to engage them. Because you know why? They are there now. Whether we like it or not, they are there now. They are collecting salary perks and whatsoever on our behalf. So we need to find a way to engage them, to do what they need to be doing, and not to isolate them. But I think what some of us have done, and I will tell you straight, I'm one of those. Okay, I never engaged any of those people. And we think when we do that, you leave them to themselves. Okay, and then so I think at this point in time we need to start engaging them, reminding them what they need to do, even helping to draft bills and stuff and give it to them, because some of them have not drafted any bill, they have not sponsored any bill. So we need not to leave them on their own devices. And then also let me just state tell you the question you asked. No, I disagree with Pisota that it's because people are reporting rapes and these gross human rights violations, so that's why they seem like, oh, they are large in number. No. They not seem like they are a large in number. They are actually happening. They are actually raping these people. They're actually killing these people more than any other time in our recent history. Honestly, the only other time in our history that were killing and raping people unabated with no accountability was during the war, during active fighting. Since the war stopped, this is the first time post-war Liberia that the raping of our people, the gross human rights violation, the killing of our people is on the rise. This is the first time that it is so prevalent. Even bad as Eddie Johnson's administration was, it failed us. It was not this prevalent. So no, Piso, is because one, you guys are not doing anything to address it. People are not being held accountable, and so they are entrenched in the culture of impunity. They think that they can do more. People like Afori Dia, who is a vicious rebel commander and stuff, he comes out to be, a confidant of major members of the government and people who are actually supposed to be bringing the war crimes court to bring Ofori Dia there. Let me just give you a piece of statistics, and then I will keep quiet. Just as early as 2020, when they had the 16 days in November, every November they have the 16 days of activism, advocacy against gender-based violence. In November 2020, and I'm quoting Piso Sedi own time from her ministry, the Ministry of Gender, released the data or statistics that they had on gender-based violence against women. And according to that statistics in 2020, they said they have recorded about 2,240 cases of gender-based violence against women. And at least 1,792 reported cases of gender-based violence were rape alone. Yes. Which counted for about 80%, where Abraham, do the math quickly. 80%, it's 80%. Yep. So imagine, just 2020, just 2020, you have 80% of gender-based violence. You have rape accounting for 80% of gender-based violence. So no, it's not because people are reporting it, it's because it's actually happening. 80% is alarming. And what happened to all these people? One, they have not apprehended, the overmajority of them. The few of them that apprehended, they either broke jail after 1 week, and they don't know where they are, or they can't find them, or whole lot of foolishness. Their family have to, if these people are in jail, their family have to go there, be giving them food every day. Why am I taking food to the rapist of my child? Why am I taking food to the rapist of my child? Why am I paying the police way to go and investigate the person who raped my child, who sodomized my son? So these are the kind of things we're talking about. And this is why I'm saying now that all of us who are in this advocacy, I consider us the Moses generation. I keep saying that. So those of us, this Moses generation, now we got to keep talking, because guess what? Everybody's not going to be a Rosa Parks. Everybody's not going to be a Martin Luther King. Everybody is not going to be a Malcolm X. And even with that, they still kill them anyway. Okay, but the few of us, it does not take a whole society. It's not going to take the 5 million Liberian people to change things. It's just going to take a handful of patriots with consistency, with being intentional and being serious, learning to work together to hold people accountable, hold their feet to the fire, to see the kind of change that at least we want to usher in before we get too old to exit the scene. So we need to be engaging those people, Youngly and the rest of them. We need to be engaging them while we're also strategizing new strategies and stuff to deal with when I say deal with President Weah and his government, to call their attention. Because look, the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, the bedrock for the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia was to promote unity, liberty, peace, stability, equality, justice, and human rights for all Liberian citizens and those within the territorial confines of Liberia under the rule of law. Okay, all articles, the 13 chapters of the Liberian Constitution and the 97 articles, all of them talk about the rights of the Liberian people, the civil liberties, the human rights, and especially article here, chapter 3 of the Constitution, from article 11 all the way to article 26. It talks nothing else except the rights of the people, the right to the civil liberty. It talks about the right to security. Right now, the rights of our people, security, is being abused, in a rampant manner. It talks about here, let me read it quickly. Chapter 13 of the Constitution specifically devoted ensuring that the rights and civil liberty of citizens are observed, protected, and exercised consistently at all times, 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, under fundamental rights, from Article 11 all the way to Article 26. Okay? Article 11. All persons being born free and independent and have rights, including the right of enjoying and defending life, liberty, security of the person. Article 20. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, security of the person. Right now, our people are being deprived of their security and their life. It has to stop. It has to stop. And the few of us who are doing this all the time, never mind with me, they've been causing me since our whatever, that'll continue. It's not going to stop me from speaking out. Okay? We have to continue. And we have to come together and see. Honestly, I'm looking at how we can shut down, Monrovia. The women of Liberia just coming together, advocating, demonstrating, reminding George Weah of chapter 3 of the Liberian Constitution and all these provisions I just named, because our rights, the rights of our people are not being protected. And if we sit down and don't do anything about it, okay, pretty soon it's going to visit our doorstep. Maybe right now we're thinking, oh, these people are random people, even though we feel sorry, but you know what? Oh, they're random people. They're not our godchildren. They're not our siblings. They're not our cousins and stuff. But guess what? It's coming down. It's coming up the street. It's coming up the street. God forbid one day we will wake up and it has hit our doorstep. Okay? And guess what? God forbid one day, I hope it will not be one of us. But guess what? The way Liberia is going, Liberia is a killing field right now. And if we don't really come together to do things, have a massive demonstration, shut down our city, send a clear message to we are there that we tired with this too, we're not going to accept this. Pretty soon, we're going to be wearing black and we're going to be going to some people's funeral.
Well, thank you, Massa. What a good way for us to close this. I mean, we can do this the second time, the third time, the fourth time. That's a fourth time. That's a lot to digest. But we don't want to abuse your time. And I see my boss, Steve, signaling to me that we're 19 minutes over. But we cannot leave without discussing the here and now. And Steve, I know, give me a second, 30 seconds. I wanted for us briefly to talk about the LNP boss, his press release. He issued a statement before, however he called it, preliminary statement or finding or whatever. We all know we're professional people that preliminary statement or finding used to most times final. But the greater concern there is that he released a statement in less than 24 hours when he had not, in his own words, he had not reviewed the call log of the deceased. Our condolences go to the family before we go into this. He had not reviewed that. He had not interview or investigated the family, the residents of that building, including the friend that called the lady. They say, my friend, I talked to my friend and I couldn't hear from her anymore. He had not, even to date, he has not reviewed or is not in his possession the CCTV, log or any other monitoring device, but yet he issued a statement of no foul play. I'm concerned about that statement. I have some thoughts, but my thought doesn't matter at this point. I really want to hear from our guests your thoughts on that. Talking about it from a point of timeliness, professionalism, completeness, accuracy, effectiveness. Was that appropriate? And should that have happened? And what would think? Just give me some thoughts on that. So anybody can take a stab on it, and I'll close my mouth. That's it.
Yes, can we also use this opportunity to maybe get your closing statement?
I'm done. That's my closing right there.
No, tell me you saying to close and give the announcement. But let's do 2 minutes each. Address that question and give your closing statement.
Let me go first because I gotta leave. Can I go first? Yesenia, if you don't mind.
My man, ask the ladies before they hold you in contempt.
That's what I'm asking because I fall in trouble. So it's it baffles me. Every single time we got to be here talking about procedural error. We got to be talking about because here's the thing. When you go to school and you learn certain trade or certain profession, that is a representation of the character in the person who you are, because you is that professionalism that you take over there and you exercise so people can see that, oh yeah, this man actually went to school, he got the training, he's the person, he's the person ready for this job and so forth. All right. So the LMP, all the deaths that happen in the country, if this crime scene is not contaminated, either maybe the citizen will go and drag the body out of there and put it somewhere before even the police gets there. So, and then when the police gets there, they behave as though they not even went to school. They didn't even want to train. All the money the UN spent on these people when they were here, we see nothing. We see nothing as professionalism being exhibited in all of these crime scenes. Take for instance, Gifty Lama and Abbott. When the people went, after they got to the crime scene, when the car was on to the bypass there, and when they went there, see how the guys, we saw it on live video. See how the guys were playing with the body, how the guys were going in and out of the car without even putting securing the crime scene. All of that, it be happening time and time again. So I'm just like, what is it? You got a police director who, like Debbie said, who has not gone to review the subpoena the cell phone or Lone Star, whatever network she's with, and the friend is with. Subpoena those call log and go through the call logs and see as what are these. And trace the call log. Who was the llama she talked to? Who was in that vicinity? In fact, all of the people who use using cell phone in a particular community get their cell phone and be able to track it and see what's going on. As per the death of that young girl, but nothing like that. The man comes on, he comes to the public, he make a public announcement. He has not even done an investigation, but he said there's no foul play. He has already concluded an investigation, now saying that there is no. We still investigate. How can he be investigating, but he's saying there's no foul play? What sense does it make? This is the police director of a country. But you know what? To sum it up, The president said, I'm not holding even the police are very responsible. The president said everybody should buy their what you call it, CCTV, their own security. So,
CCTV.
right. So with the death happening in the country, it's so sad. You know, Momo is my very good friend. He's a very genuine brother. You know, I mean, I know him very well. I taught him in St. Edwards. A very smart young man. You know, listen, the fact is, if the president of the state make that statement, all that we can do is to continue to be security for our people who want to call your relatives and your friends. It's security on security. When you go in somewhere, make sure you get your cell phone to 5, 7, 8 persons that will be tracking you while you go and so forth and so. That's the only thing we can do, because I can promise you, what we're discussing here, as we go to election 2023, it will keep happening double times in the country and we'll keep being frustrated. So the only thing we can do is to be our own security and make sure our people are safe as they go out there looking for that daily bread out there. So I want to say thanks to all of you guys, to Tel, to Sandy, to Sis Massa, to my brother Moses. Let's keep the conversation, because it's all Liberia and it's the only country we have. Like Massa said from the beginning of the show, some of them want to die. You want to carry our little kitchen, our local shop back home, so we can sit down there and cut Tel. Kind of so we can drink less more beer. Or what's the kind of so we can drink?
I don't drink. Oh, call me to eat.
Okay, I'll call you. Can work. You're sending come here, so this is the kind of can do. Like can eat some GB or so. So again, I want to say thank you all you guys. Let's keep talking about these issues because it's important. It's our country. Let's keep talking. I love you guys and have a blessed Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Enjoy your
Thank
day.
you, Ibrahim. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening.
Thank you so much.
So I want to acknowledge that this is one of the most powerful conversations I've had in a long time, you know, because I have a team of people who are pressing the same direction as I am. But a few things to note. On the issue of Bartow, I reached out, you all know, I advocated like fearlessly for Bartow. And I reached out to some of the people closest to her to see how we could build a team around her to help her out. One thing we must understand, whether you have a PhD or you have a master's degree or you're a professor, the people in Liberia are they're going to elect the people that they see themselves in. So if we don't educate our population, those that represent that particular population will be one of them. Because that's the people that we chose. Yeah. Those are just the facts, whether we like it or not. We can say they're educated, uneducated, can read. People see themselves in their leaders.
Yeah.
You have like they said there's no money, but we gave Ellie millions of dollars for her foundation for whatever reason, I don't know. We gave Claire, we have millions of dollars for foundation. They don't go out. These people are people with clout, don't go out of our budget. That undermines our constitution. That is a breach of our constitution, and that's what we need to speak to. Now, I had an opportunity to speak to the mother of the young lady that passed, beautiful woman. She's in here, which is only fair that she will be. And Dr. Momo, the young man, really intelligent. One thing he said yesterday on Zoom, because somebody had tagged me on it, was, I took an oath. I am a doctor. I have ethical balance that I must keep, and I will follow through with that. I haven't heard a Liberian in Liberia in a very long time talking about ethics, talking about professional oath, honoring their profession. I want to say kudos to him. Even in his tears, he knew to have composed himself and speak and stand up for his sister. Now, I will say to you, Dr. Momo, you need to stand up and let your sister speak. We saw not BJ with his 7-year-old daughter that was raped at the Liberian embassy. We're still talking, nothing has happened. So Liberian women, Liberian around the world, we have to stand up, okay? We have to stand up. We have to educate our people as to the rights and responsibility. That man who spoke yesterday, that Carter and those people, they have forgotten the 14 years. What brought us to 14 years of civil war? They're taking our people for granted. What he said was complete nonsense. It was unprofessional. It was unethical. It was premature. Okay, he have not done even his homework. All right. I am not a forensic scientist, but based on studies and things that I've looked, analyzed in the system, we put some note out there. We call people to see just based on what they saw visually. They removed that girl's body before they could even take picture or before they could even do site analysis. They did not, okay? And they thought it was going to be business as usual. If you all note, They were asking the brother, they didn't even know who it was, for money before they can do any test. So when the vice president tells the Liberian people, all the people can compromise their case. Now the poor woman who can't find food to eat, child is killed. They go, they say they want to see their child. You say they must give $150. You think what they're going to say? They don't have no power. They don't have any. They will walk away. So they don't compromise. The country sabotage them. The country push them into a corner. So the country is not just a country. The country has a leadership. The father of the house is the Senate. The one who they send out to do the job is the president, because he brings his team as a project manager. The lawmakers are the fathers and mothers. The president is the project manager that they entrust him to do the job because he has implementation power. But that Moses Carter guy and the pseudo guy, whoever spoke yesterday, it was prematurely done. It was unprofessional. It was immature. It was, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's like they have no heart and soul for the Liberian people. But I look to see the war in economic crime squared. They're turned into Lofa did a fundraiser last night. People are going to be getting in the street. Only the mobile guy have been keeping the people on Nukutan. There are almost 300 people that were getting in the street. He have to hold them down. All right? People will be getting in the street. And let me say to you, we need to help whether we like it or not. We are the center. We are the strength. We are the lifeblood of Liberia at this point. We must stand with them. And one more thing before I go. Nathaniel McGill spoke at the EULA last night. EULA was funded as a Liberian Student Association to help about people who came to this country for school to survive. It's supposed to be people-centered, not a regime collaborator. Last night I learned, and I was just listening to it. McGill promised to give EULA in a budget $100,000 annually.
300,000.
Okay, 300,000 annually. They're already giving Ellie Foundation, which is on retirement, millions of dollars. And Cloud, we are also. I'm warning you, like some of y'all, all of us will be on deportation at the same time because all of us need to pack up and go back to Liberia. There may be when we see our people being will come up, but I'm going to say to Kamara, I'm ashamed of you. I served on EULA board. In fact, the people of Georgia for 5 years did not pay the EULA bill because they didn't believe in you. I came back and paid that and begged the people. Dr. Sungwe, who is one of the founding members of EULA, will be my witness to attest to that. And said he opposed it, and I begged them for them to come back to EULA because they didn't like the way EULA was going. So different group, see more politics, but we will deal with them. All this week, I want to say kudos to Nathaniel Barnes for being a man and having balls to stand up and speak for your people. No, Liberian people, you need to stand up. If you got 300,000 to give to people in America who are giving 500 million to Liberia annually and begging the American government to send you hundreds of millions of dollars, but they're telling you they need to send EULA because they need EULA people to vote for them, to run campaign for them. I'm standing up and I will be writing the U.S. Congress on this. We will write the U.S. Congress on it. I'm sending half of that recording to the congressman in my state and the one then that in the Human Rights Manisky group, and I'm doing that. Shelby, again, let me say it was good. It was real. Steve, this is one of the most important conversations I've had in a while to speak on women issue and speak on my issue because I'm a woman. And I have 3 beautiful daughters, and I have a beautiful mother who is a woman and a Liberian woman at that rate. Thank you for having me. It was an honor being here. Good day.
Thank you. Masa, you want to give us your take on the police chief, spokesman, whoever he is?
Yes, sure. So I'm not going to be extensively repetitive on the police chief issues because the 2 previous guests have already expanded upon it, and I share the views. But I would just say, just for emphasis, that I completely disagree with the way the police is going. I think they've already bungled the case. I think they've already compromised the case. And I wrote on my Facebook page that Mr. Carter, I forgot his first name, but Mr. Carter, who is actually the police spokesperson, was hasty and immature and prematurely spoke about the case and actually compromised the case and showed biasness already before the case even went forward. The rest of the other people and the rest of you guys have already given the details. But let me just move on. At this point in time, I'm appealing to all women of Liberia in the diaspora, and also we are going to be reaching across the pond to women in Liberia as well. We need to come together to institute and implement series of actions in getting our voices heard about the consistent rape and murders of our citizens, our young girls, our sisters, our mothers, the boys, the young boys who are being sodomized, and the men and other people who are being killed arbitrarily all over the place. And the reason this is going to be a nonpartisan effort. It's across the board. We welcome everybody, even members of the CDC who want to be fair and objective. You are welcome to join us, because where Liberia is now, we are at a crossroad, and we need to come together to save our country for all of us. We are going to be strictly evoking the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, which gives us the right. Article 1 of the Constitution of Liberia, it says, all power is inherent in the people. All free governments are instituted by the authority and for the benefits, and they here mean the people. They have the right to alter or reform the same when their safety and happiness so require. Okay? Article 20 also says, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, security of that person. Article 15, we have the right to our freedom of expression. Article 17, we have the right to our freedom of assembly and consult upon the common good in an orderly and peaceable manner. So we will be resorting to several different action steps to address what is happening in Liberia in an intentional and in-depth manner. And I'm not going to go into depth because I've just reached out to other women. I want to respect them and give them the opportunity for us to brainstorm as a group. So I'm not going to sit there and say, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. I will wait until we start to brainstorm so that everybody has an input, so that everybody feels inclusive. But I am just saying that this time, from what I'm thinking and from the way I'm saying it, is going to be different. My nephew is going to be different this time. We're going to be shaking the bush. It's going to be different. That's all up, because you know why? We're tired. We're tired waking up every morning and seeing people, women raped, young girls raped. I mean, people sodomize a young boy and cut off his tongue to silence him forever. No, we have to do something. And we will be coming together. Already we have response from all over the place. We will be coming together once more to help save our country. That's my closing statement.
And just before you leave, I want to openly say, I know you're reaching out to women and so forth. I want to openly say here that I'd make myself available to be part of whatever it is, because this is what we must do. And this is what I was waiting for. I'm sick and tired of us just talking. Let's get into action, because to every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. Yeah, we must react and just stop talking. Thank you so much.
Yes, because the Constitution of Liberia say, if our government that we voted for and put there, if they cannot protect us, it tells us that we can do all these things to get them to listen to us. And so it is time that we revert to the Constitution to get our leaders to listen to us.
Yes. And I'm on board.
And we will be also reaching out to the men, but this is going to be an effort by the women, organized by the women, and definitely we're going to be reaching out for support from the men as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think it's a good thing, to bring some men in that like-minded men that seek women agenda. I think it's a good thing. But it's a good show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. We will resume this conversation. We will. I think Tel, like you said, was a good show. It's worth the time. I think one of my frustration has been this continuous just talking and leaving it, continue talking and leaving it. We must get into action.
Move the needle.
We must strategize. I've said it over and over. Let me tell you something. While we are here speaking, Seditionists are writing. Some of the prominent crooks and criminals that take money from the government, that embed the government, they're writing. They're writing me and saying, "Oh, we want inside women against the government, and y'all want women against the government." And I'm
if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes.
And I'm telling them, listen, I understand the language CDCs understand. I understand that language. They do not get diplomacy, and they will take any inch you get in, they will take yards. These guys are not serious. They will not do the right thing until you hold them accountable and hold their feet to the fire. They're not serious. Any conversation you have with them, they will not adhere to it. They will sit there like they're listening. They're not going to implement it. As evidenced by the U.S. government has had conversation with these guys. Stop the stealing. They will not stop. Stop the corruption. They will not stop. So these guys are inherent criminals. They will not change. The only way to get them to fall in line is to ensure that you take action and let now your action be told what you will do. Don't publicize it like Costa and the other people who collected money for the June 7 and other protests. Don't do it. Don't let them know what you're going to do. Make sure you strategize and strike. They'll behave. Trust me, they'll fall in line. I'm saying they are open there. I ain't got no time to fool around with CDC-led government because they don't want to change. These guys they have everything they have to do to change. They don't want to change. You see Moses Carter jumping the gun and compromising this entire case. This entire case, this man has compromised it. And then they're playing joke way and making the low as some kind of joke. But I hope and pray that the women will get to this. And I trust Master Washington. I know that she doesn't fool around. That I know for a fact. And I know that those who will be serious will be serious. And if CDC, your send spy in there, will discover those spies and will expose them. Those women that you will send there will discover them and will expose them before they even come there. Because you're trying, let's see. Because I know that the next move they will go on. They're listening. They're watching from distance. Right now, the next thing they're going to revert to is let's try to bring people among them so they can know what they are doing and know the next step and be able to counter them.
And that's fine.
That's what they do.
And that's fine.
What they do. And that's exactly what they're
bring
going
them
to
to
do.
the table. That's fine.
So guess what? If you're saying these women or you're saying these men to come in there to infiltrate, we will discover that
we are there, Steve.
We'll talk about it.
That's what we do best. We are there.
We'll call them names. Once you assign them, we'll call them names. You see why you can play, we know exactly what's going on. But yeah, I think it was a good conversation.
It was a very good conversation, man. I hope we have a phase 2 to this. Because just to talk more about Masa's initiative, I think it's good. But to go deep into the thoughts and some other things about it. Also talk about your program. I know she has some shows she started frequent. Wow, I can't even talk. Recently, and you're on there sometimes.
Yes.
But just to go into it a little bit. But I'm sure we'll have some time to go into that another time.
We'll definitely bring them back. We'll definitely speak with them to bring them back.
And other people.
In the convenience. And other people as well, like you said. We'll have this conversation not only today. We'll try to have it repeatedly. We'll try to also encourage other women to get involved. Mobilize as much women as we can mobilize. Women must stand up. Women must stand up. And I tell you this, once the women start standing up, this conversation will change. We men will fall in line. I'm telling you, women drive the narrative. You hear that music that says girls made the world go round, whatever it is, that women can make, look, that money can make bigger than that women can make bigger.
That women can make bigger this.
Steve,
don't let me laugh.
I tell you. Yeah. So let's do this.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
We'll be back with the politics. There are a lot of information we got to talk about. We'll talk about the EULA because we were there.
And we're talking about that last night. We're going to touch on it tomorrow. So yes,
we'll talk about EULA.
Yeah,
we'll talk about EULA. We'll lay out exactly what's going on behind the scene. These guys have instrumented the plane. They struck the needle. Now I want you to keep this name in mind. Remember, one of Benedict Ure's daughter was just given a radio station, a frequency. Remember that?
Oh, the one that's an advocate.
Forget about the advocating. Be that thing.
Well, at least
be that thing. At level,
okay. Okay.
We'll discuss the plan, the strategy, and how that radio station is in play next. We'll discuss it. Roots FM is not coming back, but we'll discuss how that. Look, the puzzles are coming together. These things are falling in place, and these guys think that they are smart. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss how that radio station is in play. We'll also discuss the newest strategy as to why you will hear the song of "We Don't Want our equipment back, but we want the government to pay for the equipment. There's a strategy behind it. The ability to move money around.
But the money already moving around.
We'll talk about it. So just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. We'll have this conversation.
But it's a good conversation, though.
And tell not running away because we'll make it juicy and noisy.
I'm scared of that too. No, we'll talk about that EULA stuff. I have some concerns about taxpayer money
we'll definitely talk about it.
Taxpayer money. We'll talk about it.
I think in my own view, this could land EULA into some serious problem.
Yeah,
especially on this end.
I mean, either side serious problem.
And we're taking the whatever we saw here, we heard here, we're taking the report back to the people of Arizona. And guess what? We'll be making a decision as to whether we stay. No, we have to make that decision based on.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not based on I'm resident.
We're not rushed to make that decision, but the people of Arizona will make a case to them so that they can look into it, whether we disassociate ourselves or not. At this point, we have not decided yet, and we're going to be consulting with other members who are in EULA, other states who are in EULA, for them to look into this as well. This is repugnant. This is unacceptable. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. I think it is the wrong thing. I said it last night on our NTTV when I was interviewing me at Dennis Jar. I said it, and I stand with everything I said last night. I stand with it. It's very discouraging. It's embarrassing, and it's problematic. So we're going to make a decision on it.
Let's go, but it's just foolhardy that one individual will stand up and just make a pronouncement to use taxpayer money or allocate it the way he wants. I mean, that's unacceptable to say the least. Foolhardy. Come on now. What is this?
It was look. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed in my seat to my stomach that I sat there and I wondered, I said, wait now, what's wrong with these people? That they can make sense of certain things that need to be made sense of. There are some things that you don't do. You don't just do it. But again, they don't understand some things, or they either understand it or deliberately they're inherent.
They understand it.
Bad group of people that just refuse to do what is right. That they would never do what is right, and they choose not to do what is right, and they think they can just do it everywhere and anywhere. But they're striking the wrong chord because like we always say, we're inside. We're inside. But I will call you so that we can talk. You and I need to talk about something serious. I'll hit you up.
I'm going to take my son a nap. Bye.
Forget about that napping. You are not doing and that laughing you were doing last night, you need to tell. I need to update you on something.
I know. You see about that.
Thank you so much. I'll call you.
Okay,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This is how we draw down the curtain.
Draw the curtains.
Night. Let's have a good rest of the week. Happy new week. Stay blessed.